We've got audio perfect. Very well. The flowers, well, we'll fix it here in just a bit. Very well, let us begin. Shabbat Shalom, my most esteemed friends, honorable judges, as well as everyone else accompanying us. On this rather precious, radiant, and cold day of Shabbat from California, the US of A, today being Adar the third, the third day of Adar is the 12th month. It's not the last one because there's going to be an Adar 2 of the year 5994 from creation. We're about to cross over into 5995, but there's some time left. February 21st of the year 2026, in which we shall study yet another chapter of wisdom and discipline, part 55. I'll begin, well, before greeting the people who have had a birthday, I'll present these presents. This week, we got the spectacular vitamins that I always take religiously. Many thanks, Madeline, for your shipment that always arrives. Many thanks. And it has arrived from a long place down in Guatemala, the Roblero family. They brought us a little greeting card due to our 35th anniversary that Leslie and I are on. Many thanks for the card. They gave us these not real flowers, but artificial flowers that are spectacular. And everywhere in the pot, there's something about bokeh. Spectacular. Excellent. I'll show it to you right there. And here it says, Happy 35th anniversary. Spectacular. Christian and Leslie, fantastic, excellent. We'll leave it right there. It covers the 55 a bit. Well, that's fine. It's fine. What else did they give us? Oh, they gave us this that you can plug in, and you put certain liquids, which are, for example, this, and it perfumes the house. You've got two swans that are in love with a heart. Very cute. They gave us, because they thought we were way too thin, they gave us this, which are candy, strawberry, white chocolate, and other chocolates. They must be delicious. And they gave us these kitchen towels that say love, spectacular. These pink ones that say love. These that are two messenger doves with hearts related with love. So then many thanks for these presents. These are the kitchen rags, right? Kitchen towels. So spectacular presents. Like kitchen napkins or towels. There it is. Let it cover everything right there. 55 right there. So spectacular. Leave this here. And I believe it's all ready. We have the heart right here. Very well. Very well. Now, let us move on with the list. For those who have had a birthday: Josué Eliseo Zambrano, Argentina; Constanza Zambrano, Argentina; Germán Cala Gutiérrez, Colombia; Jefferson López Mateo, Guatemala; Cyril Mariana Montiel, Buitrago, Colombia; Ana Francia Escobar Vergara, Argentina; Everson Cañizales, Argentina; Ruth Lisbeth López, Mexico; Carolina Aguilar, Chile; Harriet Menentiel Ventura, Guatemala. And I'll re-mention Brian because he didn't want to celebrate his birthday. We already celebrated it with him, but with the whole group. He didn't want to celebrate it last Shabbat because he wanted for the Roblero lineage to be present, so that we're going to celebrate another year of Brian. Although you've already celebrated, but we're still on the date of celebration. He chose to eat fettuccine Alfredo today. It's a white sauce based with butter, so spectacular, and with cheese, butter and cheese, and then more cheese. Butter and cheese is the base of the Alfredo, and then some cheese above on top of the fettuccine, which is a pasta that you already know, that it's flat and wide. It's like ribbons. We in Argentina call them ribbons, cintitas, not fettuccine. They're ribbons in Argentina, right? And they could be, maybe they call them fettuccine now. I don't know. But they're thick ribbons like that. That's what fettuccine is. So then we're going to eat that today. Spectacular. And of course, that Roblero lineage has already returned. Like I've already said, 1 month of vacation. We have them back with us now. And they went and returned with all excellently. So then welcome back here. And we're already the entire group complete. I'd like to remind you that everyone who would like to have a consult call with Angelina with different situations that we go through, it is free. And you just have to get in touch with her. Below the description of this video is the link. You can write to Angelina Silva in Facebook, and she will give you a consult call completely free. I also thank for all those who remember and cooperate with Angelina in her free time, that she's very busy with her studies, and in her free time she tries to satisfy the needs that the group may have. Shemah Israel, YHWH Eloheinu, YHWH Ekhad. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our God, Yahweh is one. It's not two, it's not three, it's not a trio, it's not a trinity. It is one, and it is here. It is the main secret to understand the scriptures. There's only one God whom He sent. They still ask me those questions. Even this week, they asked me if I still sustain that there's only one God. Right, the eternal truth is based on it being only one God, only one creator being. Whom did He send? One that He created to be able to send one, a new one that was born here and that He became the Son of God? No, none of that is true. The only truth that exists is that the same creator being unique, only one being, came and lived an experience as a human being. That is the experience, and obviously He would not be accepted nor understood, nor was it His plan to tell the people, I am the creator. It would have been completely unbelievable to say, I'm the creator and I was born as a human being. So then He presented Himself as the Son of God. He was not the Son of God, He was God. But since He came and was born as a son of human beings, with all the words, He says, I'm a son of the human being, which is true. He was born as a son from a human being, which was medium Mary, as she is known. And He was still the same only being that lived an experience, and He made Himself flesh, which is how it's understood actually. And so then He made Himself be called the Son of God. He was in a different function, different role, without the splendor that Yahweh has, without the visible power that Yahweh has that was hidden, not at a simple glance, and also everything that the Creator must be. He disguised Himself as a human being. That's why He called Himself the Son of God, and also recognized as the Messiah. The Messiah. But He was neither the Son of God nor the Messiah. He was the only God that we have, the Creator. He came, He made Himself flesh, He lived with us, and He left. Now, we're waiting for someone to return, because He's been saying, when the Son of Man come, when He come, who is the one that when He will come? Well, the people interpreted that He would return. But that human representation that He took on will never return again, because when He went to heaven, He became once again in what He has always been, the all-powerful Creator that is past good and evil. So then, that incarnation that He made 2,000 years ago cannot be reborn again. He would be stuck in a human body, in a body that He took on 2,000 years ago throughout all eternity. That's not the idea. Not when the Bible clearly speaks that the Messiah, or the one that will rule, because the word Messiah the people changed it over to be something like unique, like Jesus is the Messiah. Now, biblically speaking, in Hebrew, it is just Messiah for all those who are anointed for different things. For a judge, for kings, and even for Kohanim or priests. Those three charges, they were anointed in a special way. Up until today, the pastors are anointed. I remember precisely in the Adventist church when a pastor was ordained to be a pastor, they would anoint him with oil. They make him a Messiah already, because the word Messiah in Hebrew doesn't mean anything else other than to be anointed with oil. So then when we speak about a Messiah, Christianity use that word to say Messiah is equal to God, the Messiah, the Messiah. The Messiah just means the anointed, and the anointed for different tasks. I've already told you, in the old age, they would anoint him to be kings, to be judges, or to be even priests, Kohanim. Different charges, but they would be anointed to do that. So then, if up until today the pastors are anointed with oil, in fact, even sometimes they're anointed in the extreme unction when they're about to die, the priest or the pastor goes and they anoint them with olive oil and put their hands on their head. That is to anoint them so that before they die, they become a Messiah. Because that's what it means to anoint. The word Messiah means to anoint. So then when we talk about the Messiah, we're talking about that there will be a group of people that will be anointed by the Creator. The Creator selects people so that they guide this world. It is very simple. Nobody can see it, but it's very simple. There's nothing crazy in us, nor absolutely out. It is crazy insanity for those who have been indoctrinated in Christianity that the only Messiah is divine and it is God Himself. That is absolutely outside of the question. The Messiah is not the God Creator. Of course, He's a Messiah by being anointed. He will not be anointed to be a king anymore, simply. Not anointed to be a Kohanim, simply. Not anointed to be a judge, simply. But anointed to be the authority on earth. And the word authority in Hebrew is called God. All gods that the pagan peoples had were the authorities of the pagan peoples. Also in Spanish, we use the word God in one sole category, and authority is another category. So we have one God and one authority. In the language that the Bible was written, there was no such word as authority. It is something, and God is another. No. No God without authority exists. The God is the authority. Whether He's powerful or not, whether He's fake or not, He's the authority. So that every time we say about God in Hebrew, in which the Bible was written, it doesn't sound as the God as it sounds in Spanish or English God. It isn't. The word God or the word God is simply in the language in which the Bible was written, which is what's valid, because it was how it was written. It means authority. So then, the authority of this world is had by the Creator. The authority of this world will pass on to the hands of a group of people. As a second authority, now the authority of this world is the beast, because God anointed per se the beast with power, with authority, with His throne. By giving him authority, power, and throne to the beast, He made him the authority of this world, which is the God of this world. Clearly, it's the God of this world, which has a God above, which is the God Creator, which is the authority of the Creator. So when we talk about God, we talk about authority. We will be God, absolutely. It is the authority. The Messiah, the anointed, will have the authority above all. So then we talk in the language in which the people cannot understand, because they did not comprehend the biblical language, the new God of the earth. The new God of the earth only means the new authority above the earth, the one that will rule and implant justice, the one that will implement how it'll be lived. People will live here on earth, and He'll have attributes of God, which is a power never before seen in human beings, and a power of even resurrecting, which would be the huge and greatest power that anyone could have. Precisely, that will make him the new God of the earth, the new authority. Now, the God or the authority of Israel is only one person. So then, of course, I sustain, not just sustain, but we base ourselves in that God, the Creator, is only one person. When he came to earth, he took off his attributes and how he looked. He was made flesh, once again having the soul of that God, but not being the same God that's visible in that way. And when he left, he said, I go unto the Father, which means, in a language that's very much concealed as the Bible is, he says, I go back to being the Father, and you will no longer see me. You will not see me anymore. Why? Because when the Son of Man shall come, is not referring to him. He never said, when I return. It is when the Son of Man return. The Son of Man shall come. And one assumes automatically, oh, he's coming back. No, that is not the return. It is incorrectly said in this whole base of bad interpretations that become lies. It was left that Jesus returns. No, Jesus does not return. Jesus, the Messiah, never came, which is different. It is not the return of the Messiah. It is not the second coming of the Messiah. No, it is the only coming of the Messiah. When the Messiah comes, he no longer leaves. And it's not that he leaves to have to return. No, he never leaves. The Messiah has never come to the world. When the Messiah comes, it'll be the only coming of the Messiah. And all this, why is it so hidden? Because Proverbs 25:2 says, it is the glory of Elohim, it is the glory of the Creator of Yahweh, to conceal the word. The word is concealed. The whole Bible is concealed. Yet the glory of the King, who is the King? It is a symbol of the Messiah. It is to search out the word. So then, even though the Bible was given to all men, that they can read it and it helps them in certain things, in other things, it doesn't help them, it's against them. Actually, the Bible was designed directly for the Messiah. Even though everybody reads it, not everyone understands them. Only the King understands the scriptures. The Bible, the text says it well, it is the supreme glory of Elohim. He concealed the truth in a book, and the supreme glory of the new God of the earth, the Messiah, is to understand what the God Creator, supreme God Creator created. For all the rest, that is not the God Creator and that is not the Messiah. It is a book that they can get whatever profit they can get out of it, but not the truth. By misreading the Bible, everyone will say in Jeremiah 16:19-21, Yahweh, my strength and my fortress, my refuge in the day of tribulation. Unto thee shall come the peoples. What peoples? The Christian peoples, the Jewish people, the Islam, and all the other nations from the ends of the earth, in other words, all of them. And she'll say, this is so important. I never heard this, never heard this. If we had to read it, we read it without any explanation. How is it that the peoples will say, because they always told me that the Christians, the Adventists, which were the ones that were going to save each other, and you can place it in whatever church that you came from. Those that are saved clearly understood who saved them. So then how are they going to say, those who already understood the message clearly of why they are saved? Because they accepted Jesus, because they knelt down and asked to be forgiven for their sins. They accepted the cross, because they had faith in Jesus, and Jesus gave them the imputed justice and the imparted justice, and because they did not want to go to hell, and because they followed the commandments and everything that you want to add, depending on the religion that you want, they were going to be saved because they were here waiting in life how they were to be saved. So then when they would be saved, Of course, they would say, this is what we waited for so long. This is why we were of this religion. This is why I would go on the Shabbat or Sunday to the church. This is why I would fast, or I would do right, or I didn't do certain things, because those who would do such things would go to hell. So then, of course, I have the salvation because I have my faith in Jesus, or I have my faith in this, or faith in that. As it turns out, that none of that is true, because it says that all the peoples from the ends of the earth will say, only lies was the inheritance of our fathers. Vanity to which there is no avail. If it is man that makes himself gods, then they're not gods. They will notice that all the gods that they believed in was a lie. That Jesus of Nazareth, which they placed their true faith in him, was a lie, because that Jesus no longer exists. That image of Christ no longer exists in reality. That image that Christ comes, or that they're going to be raptured by that Jesus, is a lie. It's a fallacy. And all of that hope will be left to naught, empty, and they will have to say it was a lie, depending what church they were in, depending on whatever their beliefs were. They'll say the Jesus that I believed in was a lie. Others will say the Messiah that I believed in was a lie. Others will say the church taught me all the things was all lies. Therefore, that Jesus is a lie, that Trinity is a lie. But all will say that Allah is a lie. All will say, oh, it was all a lie. The gods that they presented to us and the gods that we created for ourselves, it was all a lie. Only lies was the inheritance of our fathers, vanity to which there is no avail. If it is men that makes himself gods, then they are not gods. That is why, behold, Jesus of Nazareth is not a god. He's not a god. He was never a god. That is why, behold, I will make it be known unto you this time, in the future, with all the gathered together peoples. This time I will show you the strength of mine arm, as never humans have ever seen who God was. And it's not, the God creator is not talking about, it's referring to the new God of the earth. That's another level of understanding this. And they shall know that my name is Yahweh, and Yahweh means I am that I am. It's not the true name of the creator, the true name of the creator. No one knows it. He didn't want his name to be known. And he made himself to be called I am that I am. Don't worry about who I am that I am. And I am that I am, or I am who I am, is applied both to him as to the new authority that comes. As it is in code, as it is hidden, it would not give the name of who the authority, the new authority on the earth would be. So then the one that didn't want to give his name, I am that I am, the new God of the earth, is also the I am that I am, until they know their names. But they never explained to me that the people that did not know, that did not obey, would have a chance before the God of the earth to say, well, of course it was a lie. Our God was. And here Yahweh says, I will show them the strength of my arm, and they shall know that my name is Yahweh. What it means is that there is salvation for all those that supposedly were lost from the point of view that's religious, that's Adventist, Christian. All the rest that did not accept the biblical Adventist basis, or LGY, or the commandments, nor kept the Sabbath. This text says that they will learn everything. They didn't teach me that. They told me that if I was not an Adventist that didn't accept LGY and had the Ten Commandments, had the Sabbath as a seal, I would not be saved. I would be lost. And only the Adventist would go to heaven with Jesus for 1,000 years. And after 1,000 years with Jesus, it would return, that little select group, to earth. Jesus would resurrect everyone to kill them. A complete injustice. They were already dead, but he wants to resurrect them, that they may have conscience once again and liquidate them again, that they know well. And I, as an Adventist, I didn't have the right to give an opinion. I had to accept it or leave the church. And since before, I would think that I was an Adventist because I was born there. I took it natural. The only ones that are saved go to heaven for 1,000 years, and the rest stay on earth. When Jesus returns with those that are saved, he was going to resurrect them all to liquidate them forever. So then, in what point in time do those people say, hold on, it was all a lie? What we've had this whole time. So then, in what reason, in what head does this phrase fit? It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. The Adventists say, yeah, the strength of my nerve, it means that he comes and kills them all. You see, because you did your cross, now I'm going to show you who I am. Kill them all. They could insanely interpret it that way, but it isn't so. As it turns out that all men, we were born in deceit, we live a deceit, and we die in deceit. It doesn't mean that we will be lost. There's not one sole human being that will be lost. Not even the wickedest of them all. Not even the most evil of them all. The greatest atrocities that you could ever imagine has the eternal destruction earned, not earned, nor torture in hell forever. No, of course not. If the wickedness that they did it during their time lapse, they cannot have a penalty to pay for all eternity. That, not even the Christians and the religions stop to think about it. What justice is, if all the harm that they have caused were covered over and sealed over, if they killed the people that they killed, resurrects again. So then those that hurt someone, that hurt is repaid. If all those evil deeds were fixed, even if he has to pay some penalty for having done those wickedness, how can eternity be the measure? That is a test of injustice. Any religion, which are all of them, any religion that having misbehaved and not according to the rules, or because you did not grow interested, the God creator, or to have life at the standard that they say that should be, can they be punished eternally? It is complete injustice. So then, any religion that says either you obey them or you'll be punished eternally, it is a religion based in injustice that haven't the least idea what they're saying. How many religions exist like that in the world? There's none. They all bear the guilt of an eternal punishment. The Adventists are a little kinder, and they say it's an eternal destruction. They'll sleep eternal sleep of death as if they had never existed. So they're in their mind, they're a little more chill. The rest, they think in a way of torture that is daily for all eternity. Because they did things wrong during a short time lapse, and to think that this life lasts 70, 80, 90, or 100 years, if you will. It is absolutely nothing compared to eternity. 100 years in this life is a drop of water in the sea. When a person experiences what eternity is, 100 years in this life is nothing. Absolutely nothing. And there will we understand certain things that from this side of what may seem to us something that is very ugly, this life, will understand and will take the high price of pain that we placed upon it. Because in a person, just imagine that I just want you to imagine so that you can understand my point. Let's suppose that we are all eternal and we live eternities. I want to use a term that maybe it's not appropriate. Maybe we're kind of bored with eternity. We're eternal. We don't even remember, or we don't have an account of how long we've lived forward. And there's nothing before us. We don't get old, we don't get weaker, we have no problems of how we're going to eat tomorrow, pay the rent. We are not thinking that we could lose everything. No, absolutely not. We live in eternity. All of a sudden, we say, hey, does anybody want to have some fun? Just so you think about it. And one might say, what do you propose? One comes along and says, why don't we make ourselves a world where we put ourselves in there? And notice, you're going to experience something that you've never experienced in eternity. What? Death. Death? What is death? To no longer exist. But you have to experience it in a correct way. Not for me to tell you, or in a movie. It's like watching a movie. We experience the war. We don't experience the war. No, it's not the same. Not the same. So then, we're all eternal, and we say, why don't we experience a little bit what it is to suffer? Suffer what? To suffer, to have to work for money, to not know whether you're going to have enough. Sometimes that you don't have enough, and to hunger, to go through illnesses, to go through pain and love, and to be betrayed. Who betrayed you? No one betrayed you here. For people to steal from you. Do you know what it is? No, what does that mean? For them to take out what's yours and say, I'm not going to return it, or that you don't even know who took it, and then go complain with Magoya. Who's Magoya? That's part of that world. So then for them to have a boss that mistreats you, that pays you less than what he should pay you, to suffer, that your husband cheats on you, or your wife cheats on you, to be mistreated, to have all types of problems. What about that? Does anybody dare? So then maybe within eternity, somebody says, I want to experience something different. But notice the conditions are that if we get into this world, you're not going to know who you are, because or else it wouldn't make any sense. You have to live like it's the only life that you have. You get into this world, you'll experience everything as if you were born there, and you're that person that was born there. You'll experience good and evil, and for them to do good and evil upon you, and you'll be able to decide what path to take every time they do good and evil upon you. Either you do good and evil, and depending on the decisions you take on that life, you'll suffer more or less. Suffer, you will suffer, but you will suffer more or less. You'll have more or less. And life could be shorter depending on what you do, or it could be longer. And when you experience that experience of life, you come back here. But as long as you're experiencing that, you're not gonna know who you are. You're gonna have to experience what pain is, and it'll make you a very wise person. Because when you return back here, you'll remember what you lived, and you say, "Wow, if I had known a little more, I would have acted this way, or this other way. I would not have fallen into that stupid religion." How was I convinced? Right, of course. But since you cannot know who you are, you start a whole new story. They'll deceive you, and you'll comprehend what deceit is. In fact, that world that we're creating as a creator, that world we're creating is deceitful. I'm not sending you to another paradise like this one. So then why have this one? No, the world is a deceit. Ever since you're born, they'll lie to you. You'll grow up, and that's a lie. Everything they tell you is lies. Maybe you get some rays of light, and if you're sharp enough, it'll make you think. Say, wait, I was told that I move, I'm spinning, rotating, depending on where I'm at in this earth globe. I could be upside down, but I don't notice it. All my senses tell me that everything moves around me, but that's a lie. It's a lie. The one moving is me. So then, but all of a sudden, someone will come like a ray of light and just say, that's a lie, what they told you. Actually, you're still, everything moves around you. You're not the smallest, you're the biggest. You're not the least important, you're the most important. So then you're going to have to weigh whether to stay with the society and with the science of that earth, which is deceitful science in every aspect, because we're designing a world that way. If you want to stay in the true world, stay in this one. But if you want to experience this thrill, this experience, you see that when you go up on those roller coasters, or the terror train, what do you call those? You get on them. No, not the Russian. No, the one that things appear on them. What do you call those? It's in the circus. Yeah, it's got a name. I forgot the name. No. They're in those parks that you get under and bugs appear. It's a terror train. It's got a name. How did I forget? How do you call it? The Phantom Train? No, it's not a Phantom Train. Well, it doesn't matter. Those rides, which you just get on, and they're gonna be, you don't know what'll appear, but things will appear. But you go in there consciously to enjoy, quote unquote, something that you don't really want to see. For a phantom to appear, some guy to come with a knife to kill you, and then when it's about to happen and he leaves, all this terror train, phantom train, ghost train, there's those little rides, little roller coasters that take you all around. And the roller coaster, I would also include it there. The roller coaster, because you're going to experience something that you normally don't, that that you're falling from somewhere. You're going to experience those brutal falls, knowing that you're secure. It's like that, but without knowing that you're secure, without knowing that you have existed before, without knowing that you're eternal. You're going to think that when you die, you die. In fact, there's going to be information on earth that if you die and you're evil, you go to hell. So then you'll have a whole bunch of crossed information, but it's all a lie. Because this kingdom is based on lies. So then you'll say, but, and who created the world? I did. The creator says, I created it. I'm not telling you to come. It's a fun experience for whomever wants to go in. If you don't want to get in, then stay here. That's fine. But those who dare, there's no danger. There's no chance for you to die. It's an experience, such as an experience like the roller coasters. This world is that way. This whole negative experience, terrible death that we see, we give it value, a normal value. I'm not saying that it's wrong, because we're human. We're in this experience, a normal one. We don't even know what death is. I've already told you 1,000 times over, but not even I think that it's something that it's so graspable that when you die, you're nothing. It's nothing because the one that died already left the experience. When they're resurrected or they come back, they're not going to notice that they died. The only ones that continue on in the experience are us that are living. This world is designed for that. So then if we focus in suffering, if we focus in lies of this world, in the deceits, without just differentiating, saying, oh, this is deceit, I'm not going to be here. This is a lie, I'm not going to get into this. I avoid this. I'm also not a preacher of waking up the world to lies because this world is to lie to you. It's like if I were to that terror train or the ghost train, and as soon as something is weird, I get up and I preach to those in the train. This is a lie, it's a lie. With a flashlight to try to show them that monster is being pulled by strings to take out the effect. They'll say, why don't you shut the fuck up? We're paying for this ride. We're paying for that. We don't want. No, but it's a lie, it's a lie, it's a lie. No. You go and experience something, and for them to not take that emotion, well, we weren't even placed here to, in this moment, to discover the trick. The Creator subjugated us to an experience, which is a trick. That's why we see it so despiteful, with no pity. I want your mind to go further. It is by design, not by wickedness. By design for us to experience wickedness. So then He, who is God, the authority of the earth, is in charge of wickedness to exist and for no one to take out the trick. If somebody wants to find the trick and to wake up many people, He takes them out of the game. or annuls him or shuts him down, because the main function of this life that's so short in eternity, which is a drop of water in an ocean, is to experience what we experience. When we do of this reality the only life that we'll have, that is when we fall into the game, of despair, and we don't gain profit from this life. This life is for those who understand what I'm telling you. We're not here to wake up anybody. We're to wake up ourselves. The Creator is in charge of giving light to everyone. I'll tell it to you right now. Because the Adventists, the Catholics, the Jews, Muslims, throughout their life, and one day you'll see it, they received enough light to say, this is a lie. But they closed their eyes and said, I'll stay here. I'll stay here. I won't move from here. And they won't budge, and they think it's the truth. Because when light appears in your life, it makes noise. It rings a bell. But when you shut down that light, it no longer rings any bells. It does as long as it lights you up. How many times have the Christians planted themselves things which are natural, that we believe, but they shut down that window and said, no. If I go through here or this way, I'll lose my way in this life. I'll lose my religion, maybe even my family. Because this world is so designed for everything to have strength upon you. Your culture, your country, your teaching, your family, your church, all that pulls you back. And you want to escape, and so as to not be a black sheep in the family. For them to say, oh, this one, he's a crazy guy, he's a rebel. This guy, so as to not be that in the family, and so as to not creating any discomfort, an anomaly in your surroundings, you stay where you are. And you end up being Christian, Jewish, whatever, worshiping whatever that you don't even care about. But you don't leave it, you don't think, because you don't want to risk to come out from the mainstream, to come out from the street of commodity where you walk upon, because you know that if they're all walking in one direction, if you turn around, you'll be crashing against everyone. So it's not worth to crash against anyone. And I tell you, it is worth it. Because that's the sense of this life. Because all will be shown that they did have something to go against the current, against the stream, whatever it might be. They had something to go upstream, but they decided to shut their eyes and to stay with the path they were because they're more comfortable. They didn't want to lose their family. They didn't want to have disharmony in their home. They didn't want to lose their job. How many receive the vacuum cleaners so as to not lose their job? They're like, oh, no, I can't lose my job. But go ahead and give me whatever you want to give me. This world is a system that is on purpose, so that in the appropriate time to gain who will rule it, and the one who will rule it, the Messiah, the new God of the earth, the Creator, says, okay, here are the keys of your kingdom. You followed your intuition. You followed what you thought was logical. You could care less about going against all of the science, religion, and everything. You didn't care. You deserve, and you have it earned, to rule. Because now, I know that you will rule well. Because if you demonstrate it to follow what you consider to be the truth, not what they told you was the truth, But what you had as truth, which was against the whole world, because you believed in that truth, and it was the truth in your logic, and it turned out to be the truth that I was giving you through lights, then you have the right to rule. And you're the only one that can break the cover. That's what God has subjugated us to, this cover. That cover is on purpose. We live in a world of simulation. Why simulation? Because not even God is the wickedness that you think. He designed this world to subjugate us to this world so that we experience this world, and the experience, even if we think is long, it's short. Actually, it's horrible, but depending on how you want to see it, you can draw an advantage from this experience. But all the rest will say, only lies was the inheritance of our fathers. And all will be saved. All of them. Not all will be the new God of the earth. This time I chose the other text of the three that I told you that I had chosen about Proverbs 4. Proverbs 4:23, above all kept things, keep your heart, because out of it does life emanate. With this text, we could speak so many things. We already spoke last Shabbat. Today, I'll focus on a different subject, which we'll talk a little bit about this, and we'll see it now. But first of all, I'd like to read quickly Proverbs chapter 3, because I think that we'll finish Proverbs chapter 4 today. So then I want to read Proverbs chapter 3 once again. My son, forget not my law, which is my teaching, my instruction, and let thine heart keep my words. For length of days and a long life and peace shall they add unto thee. Let not mercy and truth forsake thee, or kindness and the truth. Bind them about thy neck. Write them on the table of your heart, and ye shall find grace and good favor in the sight of God, the authority, and of man. Trust in Yahweh with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. Recognize him and acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear Yahweh, and depart from evil. It shall be health to thy navel, and marrow to thy bones. Honor Yahweh with thy substance, and with the firstfruits of all thine increase. So shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst out with new wine. My son, despise not the chastening of Yahweh, neither be weary of his correction. For whom Yahweh loveth, he correcteth, even as a father the son in whom he delighteth. Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and that obtaineth intelligence. For the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof than fine gold. She is more precious than rubies, and all the things thou canst desire are not to be compared unto her. Length of days is in her right hand, and in her left hand riches and honor. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. She, wisdom, is a tree of life to them that lay hold upon her, and happy is everyone that retaineth her. Yahweh with wisdom hath founded the earth. By understanding hath he established the heavens. By his knowledge the depths are broken up, and the clouds drop down the dew. My son, let not them depart from thine eyes. Keep sound wisdom and discretion. So shall they be life unto thy soul, and grace to thy neck. Then shalt thou walk in thy way safely, and thy foot shall not stumble. When thou liest down, thou shalt not be afraid. Yea, thou shalt lie down, and thy sleep shall be sweet. Be not afraid of sudden fear, neither of the desolation of the wicked, when it cometh, for Yahweh shall be thy confidence, and shall keep thy foot from being taken. Withhold not good from them that to whom it is due, when it is in thine power to do so. Say not to thy neighbor, Go and come again, and tomorrow I will give, when thou hast it by thee. Devise not evil against thy neighbor, seeing he dwelleth securely by thee. Strive not with any man without a cause, if he have done thee no harm. Envy not thou the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. For the froward is abomination to the Lord, but his secret is with the righteous. The curse of Yahweh is in the house of the wicked, but he blesseth the habitation of the just. Surely he scorneth the scorners, but he giveth grace unto the lowly. The wise shall inherit glory, but shame shall be the promotion of fools. Well, it is spectacular what it says every word of Proverbs chapter 3. Why did I tell you this story of how it would be if we were eternal and we lived in this life as if it were an experience? It is because, since we don't know who we are, because it is better to understand, and it is the only way to understand our Creator, because I cannot imagine a God that does injustices because it pleases Him to be unjust. As if it were so, then never ever would we return in all of eternity, if we were eternal, to respect Him. The only chance, the only form of having any respect forever unto Yahweh Creator is the way that I tell you, that He formed an experience absolutely alive and of pain, so that we experience this, and that we experience that and never forget it, because we will be eternal. And it's incorrect to say we will be eternal. I think we are eternal. Whether we live shortly or a length of days, there's experience. We are eternal. And as eternal beings, we should, in one way or another, understand that this experience has to have some sort of sense. And that sense is to experience everything evil possible for the government to lie to us, for God to lie to us, for religions to lie to us, and that the whole world would want, per se, to end with our life. Then He will give us a look that we would never have if we lived in an eternal world without this experience. This experience, in my point of view, from the point of view that's eternal, it's excellent. If it were the only due experience that we could have, it's dog shit. It's the most horrible thing that could ever happen to us. And if this is the only timeless that we could have, we shouldn't even live it. If we knew that once we die, we no longer exist forever, then there's no need to even try to live longer. We should try to eliminate the experience as soon as possible. If you get the same result, absolutely the same result. Now, if this experience of a perfect and eternal being has the experience of becoming old and wrinkly, I mean, it's good to take the experience. Maybe you don't understand it, but it is to take it, because it's not real. It's not real. It's not real in actual life. In this simulation and world, it is real. You grow old, everything hurts, and you die. Real, for real. But it is within the ghost train. You're within that ride, that roller coaster, which is absolutely vivid and real. But it's still a ride. And then later you'll say, whoa, what did I do in this experience? I did this. Like when you go into a ride, there are people that cover their eyes, that yell, others open their eyes and enjoy it. What is your experience in this ride? Because we are eternal. We are eternal. This is just an experience. And if you understand that this is an experience, maybe you start to live it differently in accordance to it being an experience. That if you're alone, it's an experience being alone. And if you're married, it's an experience to be married. That if things don't turn out the way you wish, it's an experience. That you can still change. That you can alter certain things in order for things to turn out the way you want. So then, if you have a face that's not so favorable as you wish, it's an experience. Because precisely, the most beautiful people, eternal ones per se, let's say, the most beautiful eternal people, in order for them to experience something, you gotta make them uglier so they can experience what it is to be ugly, and then they go back to being what they were before. Am I saying some barbarity? No, I'm saying what the Bible says again about what Yahweh did. Because Paul says, that is what Paul writes, whether we believe him or not. It is what God left for us to read. All covered up with lies, but we can read certain things. That it says that God shed himself off of his glory and became human, exactly what he wasn't. And he was born as a baby, something which he would not have in his memory. And he wanted to experience to have a mother. He wanted to experience to be breastfed. And so although for them to scold him, because don't you think that Jesus was a baby that wouldn't cry and that did everything correctly? No. He had to experience. And he had to experience to be insulted, to be humiliated, to tell him, well, who the fuck are you? You're an idiot. Let's stone this guy. He thinks he's God. He had to experience that he was God. He was God. But he had to experience for the people to laugh at him. He had to experience it. He had to experience to be rejected. He that never, ever, I'm sure with this power, who's going to reject him? No, he had to experience that in his face they would reject him. Not just that, but they wanted to kill him as a son of a bitch. They said, "You what? We don't want you here at all." Imagine in the heart of God saying, "What sons of bitches? I made them. I have the power of making them all shit." He had to experience the mistreatment, and for them to insult him, to spit on him, and for them to permanently want to kill him. That no. To my taste, he didn't really go too much. I would add a lot more stages to his life. You experienced that? A little bit. You had to have experienced a little more what we go through. All types of sicknesses and things like that. That would have been more interesting, but he experienced what he wanted to experience. But I want you to understand this. I'm not talking about his experience. I'm saying that if an eternal being became something else and then left, couldn't that be a sample of what we are? That we are experiencing something and that we are completely eternal beings. I want you to bear that in mind, that we are eternal beings. And we are experiencing something that we have to come out of here the best way possible, in the best condition possible. Those rules should not deceive us. The religion should not deceive us. Science should not deceive us, and even less anything else from the white robe priests and about the place that we live in. If we do all that, we are more than kings. We're more than victorious. It sounds like Paul. And we're more than kings and victorious if we do all that. We come out of the experience whole. They were not able to deceive us. We awoke in the dream itself. It's like dreaming something. I've experienced that many times. Maybe you too. To be dreaming and in the midst of the terror in a dream said, no, hold on, wait, I'm dreaming. This isn't so. This isn't so. This isn't so. I once many times. It's happened to me, but one of the times that it's happened to me is that they were persecuting me. I was with Leslie running, and I don't know what city or what situation, and I wanted to grab a weapon, but I didn't have the weapons. I didn't have a weapon. I was so angry. And then I found something that was no good. And then some guys came and they point at me and they grab me. And they grab me and they start to hit me, shoot me in the stomach. And I grab my stomach like this and I look up the blood. Maybe I watched Neo a long time in the movie. But I look at myself and then all of a sudden I look and I say, this isn't true. I'm dreaming. And when I said that, it's like the wounds healed. And I looked at them all, and I said, this is a dream. Fuck off. This is a dream. You can't kill me. And I changed the scene. And when I awoke, I was laughing out loud because I noticed that I was dreaming, and within the dream, I didn't believe them what they were doing to me. Well, that is what I want you to experience in this life. This life is not real. It's not real. We are living an experience as eternal gods. Just like what Yahweh wanted to experience. What I'm saying is nothing crazy. Yahweh, it's what he says that he did. He became flesh. He shed his glory away and became a man. You all accept that, and all the Christian religions accept that. Well, it says, you are also gods. This is an experience like his. And when this experience ends, we shall be what we really are. That's why Paul, giving to understand certain things, he says, then we'll see how he is and we'll see how we are also. Like he sees us. Exactly. So then we have to come out of the finite mind of saying, I'm this, I'm that. No, I am eternal God. I'm experiencing something here, and I'm not going to eat anybody's lies. I'm not going to allow anyone to indoctrinate me. I'm not going to allow for the government to tell me what I am, how I should act, and what I should be. No. I will awaken within this dream because I am a lot greater than this dream. Once you understand this, then you understand the texts that I've read. When you lie down, you shall not fear, but you shall lie down, and your dream shall be sweet. And you'll understand that what it is to not be afraid of sudden fear. Am I afraid of losing this life? No. What it means is going back to being what I am, and the more fear that we have, the more health problems we have due to fear. And as it turns out, fear, we shouldn't have fear. You shall not fear sudden terror or the ruin of the wicked when they come. Who are the wicked? Those who believe the whole lie. Those who believe the system. Those who believe the God that gave them this book. But it's as it is written here. Those are the wicked. Those are the wicked. Those who believe that if you don't obey them the way they say, you will go to some hell. Those are the wicked. They have terrible fear. And they pray to God to save them. They pray to God to cure them. They pray to God so that he cures the other person. They pray to God so that their son becomes to their religion. Those are the wicked. Those who awaken to this reality, they know that the only chance for you to heal yourself, free yourself. You can free yourself. Whatever you do, your decisions, what you practice, and what you decide to change in your life will be the determinant factor whether you'll get better or not. If you go to what the world offers, because everything which the world offers you is a lie. This world is the kingdom of lies. That's how it was designed, spectacular. So then if you go and ask the world to help you, the world will give you the help, but the wrong kind of help. which is the trap of this experience. The only one that can cure all the illnesses is you. It is you. That's why I taught you. And you can consult Angelina if you still don't understand. If you want to look for some point. What point in your experience on this earth do you have to change? What have you felt? What have you experienced? What are you experiencing? What are your emotions? Because your emotions are revealed in your body. And if your body says certain things, go back to your body and deal with it. Because there's no God that can fix anything for you. You are the only God that can fix anything here. Then you shall not have fear of the sudden terror or the ruin or of what the wicked suffer when they come. You will not have fear. They will fall 1,000 and 10,000 to your right because there's a bug that is ruining the whole world, but it shall not get to thee. Why not? Because you decided it so. And so you cannot arrive. But it'll get to your mom, your sister, your neighbor. Careful. That even if it gets to them, don't make that change your mentality, because then it will get to you. As long as you have the light, that it will not deceive you, the system won't. It won't get to you. They shall fall 1,000 to your left, 1,000 to your left, 10,000 to your right, as it is written, but it shall not get to thee. This is a promise. Not that God is saving you because you're his son, your favorite son. And as long as he's killing the whole world, he's not going to touch you. No! It is because you awoke. You woke up in this world and you don't want the deceit. How difficult this is. Very difficult. It's eternal. It's truth. It is very simple. It's only for kings who want to awaken. If you're a Christian that look at me, that watch me, and it's nauseous what I say, it isn't for you. I also don't want to wake you up. Not now. Later I will. It'll be a rude awakening later. But not now. Because if you wake up, it means that they're kings. So then, only the kings will awaken. Not the rest. The rest can look and it could be logical, but they will fall anywhere. Like people still write to me, people that say, I don't understand how you attack God. I don't get it. What the fuck you understand what God is? The wise shall inherit honor. Why? Because we were subjugated to this world and we were triumphant. Now the rest, the surroundings ate them up. This right ate them up. And then later they'll say, but they'll come out and say, but what? Only lies. It was everything. Yes, only lies. It was all lies. I told it to you today. I told to you years ago. But the rest will say, it was all a lie. It was all a lie. But I told it to you and I prepared you today. And it's been years that all this is a lie. Not just information from God. This whole world is a lie. It's a lying experience. That if you know that we are in a lying dream, then you start to wake up in the dream and the bullets will not hurt you. It is the same experience that happened to Neo in the Matrix. When the agents started to fire at him, he ate up all the bullets. And when he was dying, Trinity told him, you have to believe in yourself because you are the Messiah. The prophet had told him, nah, it's excellent. The prophet told him, no, it's not. You're not the Messiah. It's not you. And Neo remembered that. You're not the Messiah. The oracle said, you're not the Messiah. Why was that in the movie? Because even the Creator gives us messages through anywhere. Of any angle does the light come from. So then the oracle looks at Neo and says, no, it's not you. And he stayed with that it wasn't him. He lost his faith. The one that had faith in him still was, what's his name? The boss? Forgot his name. Morpheus. Yes, Morpheus had faith in him, and Trinity had faith in him. So then, since he lost his faith because the oracle told him, you're not the Messiah, when the agents fired at him and he was dying, she said, you have to believe, talking to the body, you have to believe in yourself. In yourself. And what happened? What happened was what has to happen to you. What has to happen to you now? If he didn't believe it, he would die. He would have died. And his experience would end, exactly. But he, by believing it, he started a whole process. He said, these bullets are not real. They're not real. What do you do with the bullets? First, he stopped them. Then he ate them all up, and he cast them unto the people. Those who went out flying were the agents, because he noticed that he had something that was more than the rest. I can assure you, and I can tell you that no, he was, even if he was the chosen one, no, he was, well, we see that he was the Messiah when he fulfilled. But another could have fulfilled it too, because the guy had to believe, and the rest didn't believe. What were the rest doing? They would run away. When the first thing they told him, well, I can remember, as soon as you see someone, run. You can't fight him. Run. That is what they all did. Run. Until he faced them, and he noticed that he was most powerful than the agents. Wow. That is a sample of the point that I'm giving you. The wise in this experience shall inherit honor. The fools, those who continued on the mainstream, the Bible, the religions, science, your mom and your dad and pastor, will have shame. Proverbs chapter 4. Hear, ye children, the instruction of a father, and attend to know understanding. For I give you good teaching. Forsake ye not my law. For I was my father's son, tender and only beloved in the sight of my mother. He taught me also and said unto me, let thine heart retain my words, keep my commandments, and live. Get wisdom, get understanding, forget it not, neither decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee. Wisdom is the principal thing. Acquire wisdom. And above all your possessions, acquire intelligence. Exalt her, and she shall promote thee. She shall honor thee when thou dost embrace her. She shall give thine head an ornament of grace, a crown of glory shall she deliver thee. And now look upon today's teaching, the wisdom, with what I've just told you, that we live in a provisory world, temporary world, and experience to experience, but we're eternal. Let's see how many likes we've got. How many likes have we got? 158 likes, 183 watching. Those who did not give us a like, what you're watching, you should give us a like. And $100,000 each of you, but since you don't have that, at least with a like is enough. $100K was short. It should be 1 million at least with what I just said. But well, since you don't have either, 10. Hear, O my son, and receive my sayings. In the years of thy life shall be many, of everything that I've just told you. Hear, O my son, receive my sayings. And years of life shall be multiplied unto thee. Down the path of wisdom I have taught thee, I have led thee in right paths. When thou goest, thy steps shall not be straitened. And if thou runnest, thou shalt not stumble. Exactly, if you practice what I've just told you in this world, which is a dream, your path shall not be straightened and stumbled. You're not going to find just not one door, but a huge street of an exit. In fact, you can run, and you will not stumble when the rest can't walk. Take fast hold of instruction. Let her not go. Keep her, for she is thy life. How do I love this text? Take hold of the advice. Let her not go. Keep her, for she is thy life. Enter not into the path of the wicked. Enter not through the path of the world, of the religions of science, of the priests of the white robe. And don't go down the path of the wicked, the religious people. Don't go down that path. Avoid it. Pass not by it. Turn from it. Pass away. For they sleep not, except they have done mischief. Exactly. And their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. For they eat the bread of wickedness. Exactly. This is the bread of wickedness they eat. Like they interpret it, they eat the cover. And it's the bread of wickedness they eat. The religious people, the bread of wickedness that the rest eat. And the science, and those of the white robed priests for your protection and everything else we already know. That is the bread of wickedness that they eat. For they eat bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. Yet the path of the just were the just. It's not those who walked in this world. The just, I'll say it in this way, those that are woke and that go against everything that this world teaches, and they practice that justice because the rest is injustice. So then the word just is correct. But I explained to you who the just are. Those just are not the just who were just because they learned a religion. Because within every religion, they're going to think that they are just. I'm more just than you. I'm holier than thou. Oh, how just am I that the priest said, I can't remember who it was, the one praying, and the other one said, I'm a sinner. And the other one said, I'm righteous. I'm not like this guy. No, I'm not talking about those righteous. The righteous are those who open their eyes and they see in what we're in this world, that everything is backwards. That I look at the government and it's a lie. I look at the religions and it's a lie. We, the righteous, said in life, it's all a lie. And only lies was the inheritance of our fathers. That is what everybody says. I said it, you say it. Now it is when we say it. We either say it here or we say it in the new kingdom. If we say it here, then you're a king. If you say it in the new kingdom, then you are a citizen. Yes, that's the way it is. So then, if we say that here, only lies was the inheritance of our fathers, then all the gods that they presented to us are alive, vanity to which there is no avail. Man makes them. They're in the Bible because they don't even understand it. We've already said it now. We're not going to say it later. But all the rest of the world says, I believe in God, He's my Savior, Jesus, the Messiah, the Jews, and Moses, and the Torah, and Muhammad, and his balls, and all of that shit. They're going to say, it's all lies. Muhammad, a lie. Allah, a lie. Yahweh, a lie. The Virgin, a lie. They'll say it later. but we say it now. But the whole world says it. That is the path of the righteous. Those who dare to say it's all a lie, yet the path of those who notice that they live in a world of lies and they change towards the truth, even if it's the only ones that they are, and they go against the current. It's like the light of the dawn that becomes more and more until the day is perfect. The day of the path of the wicked, of the petit, of the idiots, of the simpletons is like darkness. That's how they live in a world. How do they live in complete darkness? They don't know where they stumble upon exactly. They'll never know. They either stumble upon some poking or some false treating or in a belief, but they will stumble, all of them. For they live in darkness, they are blind, leading the blind. They all go directly into the hole. Yet the path of the righteous is like the light of day that shineth more and more until the perfect day. So that nothing of what happens to you, and listen to me, nothing of what happens to you is serious. It's an experience. I'm talking to you, to all of them, to you, to you, to you, to you, to you, to all of you. Nothing of what happens to you is real. It's so you experience it. How will you deal with that? How will you deal with that? If you're wise, you'll deal with it well. If you're a wicked, biblical fool, you'll deal wrong with it like the whole world. They'll deal incorrectly with it. The path, the way of the righteous is like the light of day that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. Yet the path of the fools, of those who believe everything, of those who believe that the government is good, those who actually believe that God is good for them, those who believe in whatever religion, those who believe in science, in a world that is a ball that spins and rotates, those know not in what they stumble. My son, pay attention to my words. Pay attention to my words. Incline thine ear unto my reasons. Let them not depart from thine eyes. Keep them in the midst of thine heart. For they are life unto those that find them. Not the whole world finds them. Ask yourself while you're listening to me. You should ask yourself why God gave you the privilege of listening to me. For they are life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh. How could that be? How could it be that my words are health to thy flesh? Only a wise person can tell you that to your face. A priest of the white robe will say, no, I'll prescribe you health, or cut you up and some treating. And a pastor will say, you have to kneel down, ask God to forgive you, do this, this, and that. In your case, when you discover the wise, you have to hear to his words, nothing more than just hear his word. What are the words? My son, pay attention to my words, incline thine ear unto my reasons. Depart not from thine eyes, keep them in the midst of your heart, for they are life. My words are not anything else but life to those who find them. Not everybody finds them. It is a privilege for you to listen to me. In medicine, unto all thy flesh, not a part of you, starting with your mind, to your whole body. If you understand my words, if you keep my words, if you pay attention to my words, if you incline thine ear unto my words, or else they will be no good. You will listen to me and say, how pretty, and it won't be any good to you. No good. Surely you have your own reasoning Surely you live in your own personal bubble saying, what happens to me, it's because it didn't happen to him, what I'm suffering, what my heart is suffering, what my wife, my husband does to me, my children or my friends, what my mom and my dad did to me. You didn't suffer it. I was born in this place, in this tribe, in this city, in this place. I'm ugly, I'm pretty, I'm fat, I'm skinny. Life mistreated me. So what? It's an experience for everyone that's the same and different at the same time. You have no excuse. I'm saying this is a dream. It's not understand that it's a dream. We're gonna gain advantage of this because this is unstoppable. If I tell you it's a dream, then gain advantage because it's not real. The thing is, when you think that it's real, then the bullets do kill you in the dream. Now, when you understand my words in the deepest dimension of your being, you start to say, oh yeah, then I'm going to change this reality, and you can change this reality. It's in you that where it works. If you had faith like the grain of mustard, you can move mountains, which is impossible to move, and you say, cast yourselves into the sea. For this life is a dream that if you awaken thereof, the mountains in your life, you'll send them to the sea. Something that seemed impossible before, the bullets in your being, you'll cast them out. When you're about to die, you'll resurrect. Today, I could be giving you life because you could be very much depressed, very bad off, but only you believe that it's a reality. You can take it out, you can change it. Because my words are medicine to your whole body. They are life for those who hear them. They are life. Above all things kept, keep your heart. For out of it are the issues of life. That's the text of the invitation. Last Shabbat, we read. We didn't read, we studied. We commented many things about the heart. The heart is linked to the possessions. In this reality, Yahweh gave us a body in accordance, yes, because we complain about how the programming of our body reacts. We complain that our body, when we break the laws that Hammer discovered, they're not Hammer's, but he discovered them. There must be many other laws, but the 5 that Hammer discovered, he discovered that under certain situations, we develop certain things. But what has to do with the heart majorly are the possessions and when we lose them. So then, knowing how the rules of this game are, we have to understand that in the major possessions that we have, the major risk of losing the heart we have. In other words, when the greater possessions we have, our risk of the heart augments. And we see that phrase, and you shall have nothing and be happy, a little better. The heart will be happy, you'll not have anything, but it's not applied that way. It's dumb. It's not applied because we also have a rule that says that we have to have. We have to have. Because I also can't live on the street. I couldn't speak to you if I wouldn't pay for the light, for a computer, or didn't have a house. Where am I going to talk to you? How would I learn to think if I don't have anything? I become a caveman that can't even speak. So then, I'm not saying not to have anything. No, I'm giving you the rules of the game, not how we're going to play this game. It's not a card game, it's the game of life. The more possessions you have, the more risk you have of losing them, and that will affect your heart. Very well. We've already talked about that. You have to have possessions. But the more you have, and the more you have, the more you risk your heart. So then you have to have what you have to have. Whatever you want, what you desire, but not in excess. Notice that even in the millionaires, they have their problems. Look at what happened to the creator of Apple. A billionaire, the guy, and he died young of pancreatitis. Clearly, he was going through an absolute conflict of why he developed that and left having billions of dollars, the owner, the one that designed Apple. Why did he leave so young? Well, you have to know the rules of the game. Not just because you got money does it mean that the world is yours. No, not at all. Not at all. Above all things, keep your heart, for out of it are the issues of life. Aside from the possessions and all the rest, there is an aspect that we haven't touched on, which is part of our programming. Because in order to enter into this world, we were programmed exactly as human beings with rules, knowing that this world was to give the experience that it would give us. But we have a need of looking for love. And it's absolutely normal and well. The thing is that sometimes we don't find it, and sometimes love is not corresponded. So then it also affects our heart, because whatever has to do with love, it's represented by a heart. When you do something bad to someone, it says, my heart hurts. Even God has, my heart hurt. That these sons of bitches don't remember me. They do wickedness. My heart hurts that I made these humans. Even he used that expression, whether it's true or not, doesn't matter. What it means is that the heart, aside from the material possessions, we talk about the spiritual possessions. And the spiritual possessions in this case, I'm talking about the love of human beings, especially those of the love of a couple. That is the problem. We also have to see it from the point of view, above all things, keep your heart. For out of it life poureth out. And Solomon will speak, and I'm about to speak. And what happens here is he spoke about the evil woman. That the evil woman comes and takes the soul of a man. An evil woman, evil, and the dumb man falls with that evil woman, and she steals his heart. It's talking about the heart. What happens with the love and all the rest? What is the definition of love of this Royal Spanish Academy? I'll remind it to you. I don't know if it's perfect, this definition is or not. I don't know, but it's very interesting. What does it say? Intense feeling of a human that, starting from his own insufficiency, needs the union with another being. What a strange definition. Because we want to hear that love is something so beautiful. It's a feeling that makes me feel happy, makes me feel alive, makes me feel, wants me want to live this life. None of those were a definition of love. It's all what you feel about love. I feel that I love you. What does that mean? What does that mean? What is love? What do we call love? Well, the Royal Spanish Academy, it says that coldly, it says that it's an intense feeling, that's fine, an intense feeling of a human being, what we all are in this experience, which, starting from its own insufficiency, that is what it can ring a bell for you. Hold on, love is because there's a need. There is a lack within me. Well, the Bible says so. It says that God saw, speaking about history, it's not that God saw, that he already designed it, but God saw that Adam was alone. He saw a lack in Adam. He was alone. Now, Adam was fine. Was Adam fine or not? I think so. I think Adam didn't notice at that moment. I think Adam was excellent. I'm saying. But let's read it. Genesis chapter 2, 18 reads as follows. And Yahweh Elohim said, well, who said? Oh, it wasn't Adam. And Yahweh Elohim said, it isn't good for man to be alone. I shall make a help meet unto him. It's not good that man's alone. Yahweh Elohim formed then out of the earth every living beast and fowl from the earth and brought them to Adam so that he would see he would call them. And everything which Adam called the living animals, that is their name. And Adam placed a name to every beast and fowl of the air and all the cattle. But unto Adam there was no help meet unto him. Then Yahweh Elohim made Adam fall into a deep sleep, and while he slept, he took one of his ribs. There it is. This whole story, whether it was so or different, doesn't matter. This whole story shows us a point. That Adam was fine. Perfect. The Creator said, no. It's not good for me for man to be alone. No, of course, it's not good for me for man to be alone because I want him to multiply. Obviously, he didn't stop to think. It was all his plan. I don't want for you to say, I'm going to make Adam. And made Adam. And look at him. Oh, Adam's alone. No, it wasn't so. He planned it all. This little light that they cast upon us is the lights that traverse through the darkness and they get to us. If we can grasp it, we can grasp, or else we just don't ever get it. It's just a Chinese story. The lights are there that cross through the cover. If they shine and you grasp on them, they're yours, or else not. God clearly knew that he was making an entire world of millions of billions. And it was a unique experience. Fantastic. Or terrifying, however you want to see it. So then, he made man, and he was perfect, man was. And he took something away from man. Took something out of him and caused an insufficiency. He noticed that he was lacking something. Man was a complete being, but he drew something out of him, and when he saw, let's call it a rib, it could be another bone, you already know, it could be another bone, the baculum, which goes elsewhere that we no longer have, which the animals still do have, but we don't. The baculum is the bone that every mammal or animal has in their penis. Every animal has in their penis a bone, whether small or big, but the bone is there. The only one that does not have a bone are us. And you can tell a lot that there's no bone because there's nothing. Now when there's blood pressure, that grows in some cases. In others, not so much. In some cases, it grows and it becomes firm so as to do the deed. But then after that, it goes back to being flaccid, absolute, even almost disappearing. It's the example of death and resurrection, and death and resurrection. So then, there's no bone. There's nothing that helps it. It's just psychological. The bone was left psychological, not the bone that was there. Now it's big, like a human being. So then it says, and then Yahweh Elohim made Adam fall into a deep sleep, and while he slept, he took one of his ribs, or the baculum, and he closed the flesh in its place. And one of the ribs, which Yahweh Elohim took out of man, he made a woman, and he brought him to the man. And so then, okay, now there's a need, now there's a void in the man, and out of what he brought from the man that he lacks, he created a woman. Then Adam said, of course, right, now Adam speaks. Adam never said, God, I'm alone. God, I feel sad. God, I've named all these animals that you made, and I see that all of those are male and female, male and female. And what about me? What about he? No, he didn't say that. It's not in the Bible. The Bible says that the one that it says it's not good that he's alone because we won't get to our plan. But he never said anything. Not registered, and it's important the way it's registered because this, whether it's a lie or not, it's the light that gets to us. Whether we take it or not, it's the light that we get. It's not that, well, Moses or whoever wrote this, he wanted to write it that way. No, no, no. Every word in the Bible is on purpose by God to conceal everything and to give light to those that want to see light. Adam didn't complain. Adam was perfect. And all of a sudden, he was no longer perfect. There was a need in him. And out of the rib, or the baculum that Yahweh Elohim took from man, he made a woman and he brought him to the man. Then Adam said, okay, now he did, this is now a bone of my bones. He noticed that he was missing something. That is clear. He says, this is what you took out of me. This is mine. This is a bone of my bones. You've just seen it. This is a bone of my bones, and the flesh of my flesh. And she shall be called woman, for of the man she was taken. Woman, the word is woman, because out of the man she was taken. This is very important. Very important. In order to understand why there is a need in us of looking for a partner. And having understood then what the Royal Spanish Academy says, an intense feeling of a human being that starting from its own insufficiency because he's missing something, man is missing something, he needs and looks for the union with another being. But now he also needs the woman, because the woman that was out of the baculum, she became a woman. She wants to go back to the baculum. That is very clear. That she needs to go back to the baculum. Because there she came from and she wants to return. Evidently, this is where the magic that there is in the sexual union is, that happens between man and woman, which is absolutely natural and need. There's a need for it. It is born from that. Don't think that all of a sudden humans look at each other and say, "No, Goldley." They said, "I'd like to have a sexual relation and to join myself with a couple, with a partner." No, no. This comes from the magic of a need of both sides, which is like a fire, a sacred fire and divine that cannot be stopped. It cannot be stopped. And this is the story of every love, whether it is great or small. There is something. There's something that's stronger than themselves, which is what we call the love of a couple. What we call love of a couple, whether you like it or not, aside from all the sentimentalism that we could say that love is beautiful, that love, everything gives color, that it's horrible to live life alone, all that is all fine. But it is born in base of a need of a reunion where before it was only one being. That only being was separated. And that separation, there is an attraction. That attraction, if there is a good match, a union is achieved, and that is what we call the love of in a couple, and that is where we add all the notes and colors that are precious, which are true, because love is beautiful. But I want for you to understand that I don't stay with just love being beautiful. I don't just stay there, or that just love is fantastic, that love is an experience, a unique experience that I've never enjoyed anything in life more in this experience than love. No. I want to go further why love is produced. Love is produced by a natural attraction that there is in order to become one again of something that was not separated before. Adam was one, and he didn't need any Eve. Yahweh took something out of Adam. It's as if he divided him into two. And now there is an attraction to go back to being what he was. So then, if we see it from the romantic side, we could write poetry of the beauty of love, which is true, which is absolutely true. That is the beautiful part of love, the romantic part. But if I want to know why love is produced, why so much attraction between the sexes, then I have to see the cause of why the attraction of the sexes. And the basic attraction is because we were only one being and we were divided. That's where it is produced, that attraction is. Otherwise, there would be no attraction whatsoever. Intense feeling of the human being that starting from his own insufficiency, and you're insufficient because we're lacking something that was taken out, both of us, he needs, and looks for the union with another being. It is more than clear. When Adam saw Eve, it says, "You are a bone of my bones. You're a part of the flesh of my flesh. With you, I'll become one again." That's what he said. It's like they take my arm away, and yes. But when I get the arm back, then this is my arm, my flesh, my bone. Of course, I love my arm. I don't want to be separated from my arm. And I can tell you everything romantically of what I do with my arm. What would I do without the hand? I'd be completely useless. It'd be romanticism of why I want to have the arm. Okay. Second definition of the Royal Spanish Academy: the feeling towards another person that naturally attracts us, and that looking for the love to be reciprocal, it completes us. But why the fuck does it complete us? Because we're not complete. That's the point. If we were complete, we would need no one. No one. But there's no human being that's complete. So then I'm not teaching that you don't need anybody. No, I'm explaining to you that the need of becoming one, of completing one another, we cannot achieve it alone. We need another. Because otherwise, we would never be one. We're half walking around, and the other half walking over there. That's it, it's over. That's the way it is. And single people, they're halves. By design. By design, it's half. It's not one. It is half. It is half. And that's why we've got man and woman. Both are different, but they are halves. The only way is when they become one, they complete. Or else they're halves. No matter how we turn the page. And I'm talking about physically. Which also, they complete each other spiritually. But speaking about spiritually speaking, why that exists up in the couples up until today. The feeling towards another person that naturally attracts us, and that looking for that love to be reciprocal, it completes us and gives us energy to cohabitate, communicate, and create. Perfect. I think that definition is pretty good. Nothing of what we define will be the complete truth and reality of what love is. But I'm not talking about the experiment of what we feel. I'm talking about why it is produced by a need. I'll repeat this again. Love in a couple is produced by a need. It is not produced naturally because we want to produce the effect of love. No. It is produced based to an attraction. That's why when they talk about love at first sight, I believe that that does exist. Because love is the attraction. Love is the attraction. It can last 5 minutes or an entire lifetime. Love is the attraction. And that attraction, that first love at first sight, when two people get together, they don't know each other, and there is an attraction, there's an entire effect in the body. There is a dilation of the eyes, the pulse goes up, the hormones go up, the mouth feels different, we emanate other odors, we act differently, we blush. Every person acts in a little different way to try to cover it up, but there is a chain reaction, chemical chain reaction, that's what I call love. And now for love to grow later, as a companion and all the rest, that's fine. But love at first sight does exist. It is a brutal attraction, chemical brutal attraction. That if that were to be kept throughout time, emotions start to develop to accompany that chemistry. But I will assure you of something, and I'm talking about love in couples. When there's no chemistry, there will never be love. There is a companionship tolerance, something which that worst would be to be alone. Yeah, that's fine. I like him or I like her, but love has to be accompanied with chemistry. I'm talking about it in couples. So I'm talking about love towards a dog or a son. It's different. You use the same word, but it's not the same. It's not the same. Talking about love in a couple, the love in a couple has to be accompanied with chemistry, and then chemistry goes ahead of the way. No matter how the people want to paint it for me, I do not believe, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't believe that chemistry comes afterwards, after having coldly said, this is convenient for me, it's convenient for us to get married, it's convenient, and then chemistry is born later. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Chemistry is born in the instant, or it is never born. Chemistry is chemistry in the instant, or it is never. If I, as a father, choose a girlfriend for my son that he doesn't even know, and I say it's convenient for us because she's from that family, we want to join the families or whatever, however they feel. How they used to do that before, like Jacob had to, no, not Jacob, well, Jacob, give or take, but like when Abraham sent to look for a bride for Isaac, what chemistry was there between Isaac and Rebekah? We can't say what chemistry there was. I can't say there was no chemistry because I don't know. Because I can already see that precisely the one that creates all the coincidences, which is Yahweh, that is in this reality, placed chemistry. So then I could say that there was no chemistry, and I'd be wrong. But in the most of the cases, there was no chemistry. An Arab or whatever, that their marriages is out of conveniency, how they use it. There's no chemistry, and they get married and they cohabitate. There's no chemistry. There won't ever be a chemistry. There could be sex, but not chemistry. And for me, love is born out of chemistry. That's me speaking. Now, when there's chemistry, there is chemistry. That chemistry fabricates love. And love, with practice, it becomes in a circle of union, of love and protection, of desiring that it never end. That is how we develop it. But the first attraction, love at first sight, always that there's an attraction, it is love at first sight. Love, that means the passion is love. Now, for it to last 5 minutes and everything fucks off, that's fine. It lasted 5 minutes, but if that passion wasn't there, there's nothing. And I'm talking about when it's reciprocal. I'm talking about when it's reciprocal. Not a violator that says, I fell in love with this one. No, no, no. There's something in the couple, there's something in the air between them, it changes. What I've already told you, hormones are generated. Something takes place, what they call butterflies in your stomach. That is a chemical reaction. A chemical reaction. That chemical reaction is it is transferred later in if they stay together into what we call love. So then, the definition of love is of a need that men and women have. And I'm not saying about the gay couples, but it'll work the same way. But basically, of how humans were created, humans fall in love with something they don't have. Humans fall in love with something that they need. Because a man needs a woman. They don't fall in love and doesn't need her. No, no, no. If he does not need a woman, he won't fall in love. He won't fall in love. They could care less. A man that does not need a woman, like a child, doesn't fall in love with a woman. Why does a child fall in love with his mother first? Which is that Freud concept that was defined that every child or baby is in love with his mother, and you have to learn to break that love because there's a chemical attraction. Obviously, she came out of mom's womb, and the chemistry of mom is just like his, and he feeds from the breast, and then he sees another macho there. Of course, he doesn't want him, and he fights due to that territory. That's why it's so important. And I could care less about your culture. I don't care about anything how you were taught because it's all a lie. You have to take the children out of that room at 6 months old. They can't sleep with mother. They can't sleep in the same room as mom. I understand, and I could give a flying fuck what you care, what you were taught. Now, if you want to learn the words actually, you have to take the babies out from the mother's room. If you have not created an effect that will cost him hours to that child, hours to separate. And then later we have, if it's a suspicion, and maybe for me it's something that could be right, we have the majority of the Latin Americans who are alcoholics because the mother did not interrupt the umbilical cord with her child, and they're all still sucking. It might not be that they're all like that, but there's lots like that. If you don't teach the child that his mother is not his girlfriend or wife, and you also put already a barrier, then you make them dependent of his mother for life. And it's got a lot to do with the consumption of alcohol. A lot. Maybe not all, but it's got a lot to do with it. So then, I could actually give a flying fuck what you think. That in my culture, in my country, no. The babies cannot sleep with their mom. First of all, never in the bed. Always in a crib and next to it, but not in the bed. Once they're in their crib at 6 months old, you have to put them in their own room. You can put a bed. You can go check them. But the child, in the measure that they open their conscience, they have to know that his mother is not his wife. And here, me in these groups and all the ones that I knew, they had the children up until 12 years old. And just imagine the disasters you cause. That's why I give a fuck what you think. If my information comes at a good time, then you are blessed. So then, let us read what Paul says, which is not the most indicated to talk about love. Because Paul, for me, a guy that talks to me about love in a couple, has to have experienced love as a couple. And for a long time. If a single man comes to define love to me, I'll listen to him and I'll be like, it won't have so much weight with me. It's not that he can't tell me the truth. He could tell me lots of truths. But the weight is not by his experience. Paul is not registered that he was married. It's not registered. And in fact, some even say he's gay. which I don't care if he was gay. It's the same thing for me. I don't care. Maybe it was the thorn in his flesh that he said, I don't know. I don't, doesn't care whether Paul was gay or not. I don't care. What I do know is that he was not married. Because he was not, didn't have a life as a married man. He would go from one place to another. Never talked about Paul's wife. Never. Sometimes they say, and I took this lady as a woman, and I don't know what sense, but took her as a woman, or something like that, the phrase says. But I could care less. I'm not judging what he was. What I can assure you is that Paul does not have the experience or weight to speak about what love in a couple is. He doesn't. He could say truths or not. But as an experience, he doesn't. But he starts to speak, and for the Christians is the definition of love. Let's read it. 1 Corinthians 13, 1 through 13. 1 Corinthians 13, 1 through 13 says, though I speak with the tongues of man and of angels, and have no love, I am become a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. In this I could tarry a lot, because there's lots of stupid shit that he just wrote right there. I mean, I'm talking about stupid shit that is marvelous, because it's the way in which Yahweh has a group that's deceived, which are the tongues. And then he'll talk more about the tongues. But Yahweh loves to subjugate lies, because we are in a experience of lies. That's what he has to do. If you remember the anecdote that I told you, that if we were eternal gods, and somebody has the idea that it could be me in this case, of saying, hey, let's create an experience. Who can dare to get this right? It lasts for 100 years. Since we're eternal, they're like, well, okay, I want to experience. And I'll tell you, but look, sign a contract here, as I will make your life impossible. What is the other going to say? No, of course, that's what I'm looking for. It says, look, I'm going to be unrighteous, unjust. And so for you to be just, that's why I have you here. If you're going to put me into that experience, I want you to be unjust. But look, I'm going to lie to you. I'm going to deceive you. I'm going to make you suffer. And the others that want to enter to that experience will say, where can I sign? If it were so, I want to sign in this world where I live. No one deceives me. No one lies to me. It's all fine. If you're presenting an experience like that, I expect for you to deceive me with the most greatest power and strength that you can. You understand what I'm saying? So then, don't blame Yahweh of why he deceives you. We're in that experience. He has to. If he made it too soft, he would say, that's all that you can throw at me. That is what we're going to tell to his face. That was all you could do. Was that your best? Look, we are victorious. This is an applause. Great big applause. That's what he's going to say. Incredible. A great big applause. He that is victorious, I will give him the crown as a king. That is what he says. And he that is victorious, I'll give him the crown of life, the crown of a king. But you have to be victorious against him, and against his minions. All the rest of the world are minions of his. Whether they might be NPCs or real people or fictitious, doesn't matter. He manipulates them to make your life difficult. And we say, that's all you have? Is that all you have? And the people, the rest say, I can't anymore. And we have to say, that's all? That was easy. Paul defines love, and he's talking about love in general. If I were to speak human tongues and angelicals and have no love, I'm like a symbol. The first stupid shit that he says here. We'll talk a little bit more about this later. And if I had prophecy, and I understood all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith, so that I could remove mountains, and have not charity, I am nothing. Another stupid shit. Incredible. You cannot achieve all that. Okay, you can achieve all that with what we call love. What love is what Paul referring to? Because you can achieve all that without there being love. Now, he says that he achieves it, but if he has no love, then he's nothing. But I mean, you cannot know all sciences and have all the faith and not have love. Love to whom? Paul. Paul unto Paul. Paul unto love unto God. Love unto Paul. Love unto men. We'll read on because this definition at a level, superficial level, is complete garbage. But at a superficial level, though. 3. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, why is he going to give his body to be burned? Is he, I mean, he's a Jew and he loves sacrifices, and if I were to give my body to be burned and have no love, it profiteth me nothing. No, it profited nothing, not even if you did it with love. All that he said, if he were to sell everything, give it to the poor, and if he would give his body to be burned with lots of love, I would say it was no good. Not with lots of love or any love. Love is long suffering. Why? If it is suffering, then love is nasty. Love cannot be beautiful. Love is suffereth long. What he's saying, because everything that is in the Bible is to program you, Christian, that every time you love, you will suffer. That it's kind of right, but it doesn't have to be suffering. It is kind. Love has no envy. Love vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, doth not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth. Beareth all things, believeth all things. Love beareth all things. So then, if I eat up this verse at a superficial level that Paul's telling me, and I get programmed with this, if I don't suffer all things with love, then it's not love what I have. If in the first suffering I want to correct and fix certain things, then that's not love. If you have true love, you have to suffer it all. Believe it all. Believe all things. Believe all things. I'm going to read to you what the wise man says, which is not Paul, but it is the project of the symbol of Messiah that says, who believes all things? Who do you think that is the typical person that believes all things? I'll read it to you. Suffereth all things and believeth all things. Love believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. No, I mean, it sounds absolute Christianity. Beareth all things. The wise man, but we're studying Proverbs 14:15, will identify who believes it all, because Paul says that love believes all things. Now the wise man will tell you who believes it all. The very same words. This is the simpleton, which the word in Hebrew is petit, which is stupid, idiot, simpleton, and even evil. The simpleton believeth all things. But the smart one watcheth where he would step. In the simple language Bible, same text, Proverbs 14:15, dumb people believe everything that they're told. Wise people think well before acting. So then here we're talking about how Paul is defining love that believes all things. And if love believes all things, then it's stupid, it's dumb, it's not wise. Or that, or Paul's misdefining it. The truth is that love doesn't believe all things. Not because there's love, you're going to believe all things. You're not going to believe all things. Those who believe all things are just the stupid idiots. Love, I accept that it's blind in some type of blindness. That certain defects, you don't see them, close your eyes, not so as to not see them. I understand the phrase that love is blind. They don't look at the beauty. If there's chemistry, it doesn't matter. The beauty doesn't matter. So that's why I say that love is blind. Love is not really blind. It sees. Love can see. But what love is, love that it believes all things, no matter how in love or that there love there is, no matter the love of father and son, or the love towards the son towards the father, or between husband and wife, when something is discovered, and even if they lie to you, you're not going to choose to believe the lie. It's not like the song. It says, lie to me. It's not that way. It's not that way. So then, love does not cover lies. It doesn't cover lies. It's not believeth all things. If the husband comes drunk home and the wife says, for more love that there is, did you drink? He says, no, I haven't drunk anything. Love then says, yes, I believe you, I believe you. Or he comes and he says, or that they say your husband was with these women out of a bar, out of a hotel, and the woman says, no, I love my husband. Says, hey, were you with this woman? No, no. Absolutely not. I was working. Oh, then I believe him. Because love believeth all things. No, love does not believe all things. It's got nothing to do with the fact. This is a stupid programming, and I'll tell you why right after this. But I'll read on. Love never faileth. Is that true? That's absolute lie. Love does fail. It does end. If love did not exist, what did not exist before can go back to not existing. No matter the situation where there was love and where it was not taken care of or it was decided to not have anymore, it no longer exists. No matter what it was, it no longer exists. Doesn't mean that when love is turned on, it'll be perpetual. Doesn't mean that at all. It could go from love to hate, even though it's not the antagonism of love and hate, but actually fear. But it could go to a sentiment of fear and hate where there was lots of love. So then that love that never ends is a lie. It says, but I mean, it's saying a whole discourse here that I've never heard any preacher in the system of Yahweh of the lies to speak against this. I never heard in my life, did I hear. And I like going against the current because that indicates me that I'm doing well. When I go with everyone saying, yeah, it's true what the world says, it's true, then I fucked off already. I went with the world. No. It won't be that way because this world is a deceit, continuous deceit. It is designed for that. Love never faileth, but the prophecies will end. And the tongues will end, and science will end. How the fuck is science going to end? Tell me. I want for science to augment, not to end. How's the science going to cease and love continue? This is complete blind programming for the stupid idiots. Nobody wakes up. Yahweh, what make the biblical writers write things for them to say, this can't be, but they don't want to say that because no one can contradict the Word of God. You're a simple human being, and the Word of God is the divine Word, direct inspiration of God, and he's no longer Paul, but Saint Paul, so that they program us even more. It's not Peter, but Saint Peter. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John is Saint Matthew, Saint Mark, Saint Luke, and Saint John, so that you know they're not like a vile sinner like you. It is the word of a saint against you. And in the churches, they're going to say, let's go to Saint John. Don't they say that? All the time. They don't say, let's go to John. Very few. But they say, let's go to Saint John. To demonstrate to you, you're a fucking sinner, you son of a bitch, but let's read what the Saint John says. So then they place you in the effective authority, divine authority over you. No, Paul, you can fuck off. Either way, I'm not criticizing Paul, because Paul is a minion of Yahweh. So then it says, love never gives up, but prophecies will end and the languages will cease. They're going to cease, so then we're no longer going to speak. We're never going to speak. We're not going to speak. There's no type of prophecy, and science will no longer exist. So then what he tried to mean is that, but love continues. For we know in part, and in part we prophesy, but when that which is perfect is come, then that which is, pardon me, then that which is in part shall be done away. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know even as also I am known. Here is the part that I told you. Actually, we are not until even he said that we're not what we are. That we are not what we are. What does it mean? Now I know in part, but then I shall know how I was known. How was I known before? He's talking about as if we existed before. Paul is, right? He says before, and now we see in part as if through a glass that is dark, that you can't see shit. But that when that which is perfect comes, then I will know who I was. That's what it says. Now I know in part, but then shall I know how I was known. Known by whom? By Yahweh, evidently. And now abideth faith, hope, and love. These three. But the greatest of these is love. Okay. Before explaining this again, I'm going to read something else that I want you to understand because we're talking about the heart and love. I want you to understand, once again, this point that we've already heard, that we've discussed and talked about many times, so I don't want to highlight it. The word as, the word in Spanish, as, means the mode or the way in which, or in the way, or the way which. For example, a Christian says, I want to be like Jesus. What does that mean? I want to be like Jesus. It means that he wants to live or do or have the experience in the way of Jesus, or to be like Jesus, to imitate Jesus. But let's pay attention to the phrase, I want to be like Jesus. If I were to say I want to be like Jesus, then I have to see how Jesus was, what does he do in order for me to imitate him. The important point here is to discover how Jesus was in order for me to be like Jesus. If I don't know how Jesus is, I can't be like Jesus if I don't know how he was. I can't just say, not even that I want to be like Jesus. Do you understand what I'm saying? Another example, so you understand. I can say, I want to play tennis like Roger Federer. What does that mean? I want to play tennis like Roger Federer, which means that I want to play his style, the form he moves, how he hits the ball, the ability and skill that he has, I wish I had it, how he moves on the court, the beauty of his movements, the beauty in his strikes, his right hand, his forehand, all those things, because I want to play tennis like Roger Federer. So then I have to study Roger Federer in order for me to try to be like him. But the important thing is that I focus on Roger Federer. If I don't look at Roger Federer, I could never play like him. Ever. I don't even know how he plays. Now, all this I told you as an example of loving the neighbor as myself. There is the word as. What does it mean to love the neighbor as myself? I can't love him different to how I love myself. It wouldn't fulfill that. For example, first, I have to learn to love myself because the focus is to love myself. The focus was to see how Federer plays. The focus is to see how Jesus is. If I want to be like Jesus, I have to look at Jesus. So then, if I have to love my neighbor as myself, then the focus is myself. And that the Christians have not understood it. You have, but the Christians haven't. So then the Christians read this and they think that the only thing that you have to do is to love your neighbor and to give your life for your neighbor. And to do all things that you can do for the neighbor, or else to send the neighbor to hell because the neighbor doesn't want, then you doom him to hell either way. The main point of this phrase is to learn to love yourself first. So as to, with that same intensity, to love your neighbor. I cannot love your neighbor if I don't love myself. I can love myself without loving my neighbor. Yes, evidently there are people who develop that area that they love themselves and they hate their neighbor. Actually, it doesn't happen with frequency. The people that actually hate their neighbor is because they hate themselves. And they see themselves in their neighbor, believe it or not. Leviticus, let's see what the Torah says. Leviticus 19:17. Leviticus 19:17 through 18. In the Jerusalem 2001, notice that it's interesting in these rules. It says, "Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart." And we're talking about precisely about the heart. Take care about your heart above all things. Don't hate in your heart thine brother. Thou shalt in no wise rebuke thy neighbor, and not suffer sin upon him. Very interesting. We can talk a lot about this. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge. The grudge is kept in the heart, and out of the heart it is transferred to different organs. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people. But thou, well, this is for Israel, remember. It says, thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people. What is that people? Israel. So then I can have a grudge against the Goyim? Evidently, the way it is written, yes. Can I avenge of the Goyim the way it's written? Yes. That's why for me the Torah is laughable, completely laughable, so as to not say something else. It is laughable, because the way it is written is completely unrighteous. This apparently is good. Of course it's good. But it should say, you should not avenge or keep a grudge against other human beings, no matter if they're from your people or not. It goes way past. What if the Constitution were written for only those of one race, those of the white race? What if this were to say, thou shalt not avenge or bear grudge against another white person? That would sound horrible, right? But it says the same thing unto the people of thy people, the children of thy people. But thou shalt love thy neighbor unto the people, the children of thy people. In other words, those of Israel. And thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I, Yahweh. Here is where the rule begins. We talk about the Torah and Matzah comes along. Here comes the rule of loving your neighbor as thyself. Of course, that at a Toraic level, the neighbor was Israelite. He was not a human being that were not an Israelite. The neighbor in the Torah, it is defined as a son of Israel. The Goyim, whatever race they may be, it's not your neighbor. I want you to understand that. So then there is a correction up ahead. Yahweh says, it's kind of like, I'll add a little bit more, make it a little bit more difficult. Leviticus 19:34. Let's go to number 34. It says, but the stranger, here there's a goyim, but the stranger that dwelleth within you, if it's a stranger outside of you, then that's something else. There I allow you, whatever. But the stranger that dwelleth with you shall be unto you as one born among you, and thou shalt love him as thyself. So then Yahweh tells the people of Israel, Amongst you, love each other as thyself. Don't hate thy brother of thy people. So then they said, what about the foreigners? So there's a whole bunch of goyim. Well, the goyim that live amongst you, those also love them. Love them as yourselves. That's fine. That's fine. It's still dog shit. The rule is it should be to all human beings. And then it says, the foreigner that dwelleth amongst you, you'll look at him as one born among you, and thou shalt love him as thyself. For ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. I, Yahweh, your God. He gives them a reason. Matthew 19:16. Jerusalem 2001. Matthew 19:16 through 19. And behold, one came and said unto him, Good master. This is the story of the rich guy that you already know. Good master, what good thing shall I do that I may have eternal life? And he saith unto him, Why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is God. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments. Which ones? He says. And Jesus saith unto him, Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness, honor thy father and thy mother, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. What is the commandment? Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I'll read all these times because it's many times placed here. Let's go to Matthew now. Matthew 36:40. Matthew 36:40. This is where they asked the false representative of the Messiah, Jesus, Master, which is the greatest commandment in the law? And he saith unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the greatest and the first commandment. The second is like unto the first. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. From these two commandments, the entire law depends, and the prophets. To love thy neighbor, and I'll translate it, to love the human being as thyself, is not the neighbor of Israel. Even Paul says, and quotes this, Paul in Galatians 5:14. Galatians 5:14. For all the law is fulfilled in this sole word. Paul already leaves the part about thou shalt love God with all your soul, takes it out. Just takes it out completely, and he does well in doing so. Because it's not the most important to love God. That's in the ancient religion. In the religion in which he would subjugate it to the lie of this world, to love God above all things. That's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie. An absolute lie, because they all have to say, only lies was the inheritance of our fathers, vanity to which there is no avail. If it is men that makes themselves gods, then they are not gods. Why will I love them? Paul, through another ray of light that Yahweh sends us, if we know how to look for it, Paul says, for all the law, and now he's contradicting the very wannabe Messiah, the one that supposedly claimed to be the Messiah, that wanted to be the Messiah, the false Messiah. He contradicts Moses and the false Messiah, Paul. But with all, and I also contradict him entirely. I'm with Paul in this. For all the law in this sole word is fulfilled. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Paul said it better than anyone. Better than anyone. He took out that part about thou shalt love God above all things with all your heart, and this is the most important of them. Then the second, thou shalt love your neighbor. No, Paul says no. There's only one. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Spectacular. Just like that. Spectacular. Absolutely. That is what the eternal truth teaches. I don't teach you to love God above all things. No. to love your neighbor above all things. Because we are for humanity, not for God. For God, leave all the religions that you can mention. They're all going to say, we're on behalf of God. We do this to worship God, to lick the hand of God, to worship God, and to surrender at His knees and feet, and to sacrifice ourselves for God. Because we do everything for God. What religion doesn't say that? They all say that. Allah? They cast themselves to the ground 7 times a day in that filthy religion. A day. For a whole month they don't eat. Daily. They do a whole bunch of things for Allah. They live for Allah. The Jews, don't even mention it. Don't even mention it. Don't even mention it. They don't do sacrifices, not openly because they do them. They do them. Not openly now because they have no temple. Now the Christians, they kneel at the cross. Of course, all live for Yahweh or His Creator or for Hashem or the fucking God that they mention. We don't. At some time in the past, I taught you have to love God above all things. No longer. Absolutely not. God's leaving. No. The one that we have to love in this world above all things is ourselves, our race, human beings. And you cannot love humanity, your neighbor, if you don't start with a profound love towards yourself. Here's the secret. Love, because the light goes through the darkness like rays of light, because Yahweh placed a whole bunch of fecal matter that surrounds us, but He left some openings and little rays of light go through. That little ray of light is to love your neighbor as thyself. How can you love your neighbor? First of all, by learning to love yourself. And in the measure that you love yourself, you'll be able to love your neighbor. So then, what is love? Love is a necessity. It is born out of insufficiency within us due to a separation. And that only it is filled, repaired, and it becomes one again when we get together. So then it is not normal that we live a life separated, alone. All of the singles get to a point that they don't think through normally, and I want to offend any single man that is around here. But single people, since they're not complete, they start to make mistakes in certain things when they're older, 50, 60 years old. They don't have a woman. They've never had a woman. They've never had to fight the good battle of the matrimony or to be corrected by a woman. They never had the enjoyment and the conjugal living with a partner. They were never in the battle because love is a battlefield, like they say in the song, love is a battlefield. Love is a battlefield, that's the way it is. But if you're not in that field, you're not too normal. You're not balanced. Actually, you missed out on the best that this world offers. Because this world, they're laughing here. I don't know if they're in favor or against. But this world, what it offers you is to enjoy the experience. And we were designed for loving ourselves as a couple. That's how we were designed. That's the way it is. So then stop complaining about your experience and I don't know why I got married. You were blessed. And you have to fight your battle. That's the way it is. And if you didn't get married, well, you lived the life not to the fullest like you should have. And then later, the singles, they get weird habits. The men being singles, they have some strange habits. Women, too. I mean, I don't know how to explain this. I can see that singles are going to say, that isn't so. That isn't so. Well, of course, it's not going to be that way for you. But there's no complete balance if you're not in a couple with this experience, mind you. Adam was perfect, and he didn't need any companion. The creator in this world is just going to ruin his experience. He's gonna have to deal with a companion. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. It was not Adam's idea. It was the creator. This is not Adam is fine. He looked at him, and that is how we should read it. Adam, I'm looking at him that he's fine. I'm gonna make a different experience for him. And so he took the baculum. He took the baculum out, made Eve. That's where we all come from. I'm going to read 1 Corinthians as if a Christian were to read it, which is the way in which they taught it to me. What is love? Love for God. Because if the first commandment is to love God with all your heart, all your strength, and all your soul, if that is the first commandment, then this text of love, I'm going to read it like it was taught to me to read. And that if they didn't teach you, it was in your subconscious. If I were to speak human languages and angelical ones, and I have no love for God, then I become like a sounding brass or a tingling cymbal. And though I have prophecy and understand all mysteries and all science, and though I have all faith, so that I could remove mountains and have no love for God, I am nothing. And now it starts to make some more sense, because it would seem to be as if we're supposed Christian Satan that has all the signs, everything, but has no love for God. What good is it? He's nothing, Satan is. You can be very intelligent, but if you don't love God, it is no good. You go to hell. You could understand all things. You could understand all the prophecies. You go to hell. You're nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, and have no love for God, it profited me nothing. So then it starts to make more sense what it's saying, because he's saying it with that sense. Even though they never told you, every time you read it, your mind would relate these points: love for God, have to love Jesus. So then this is what it is to love Jesus. Jesus, God, who wants to deceive you, because that's why you signed the contract. That's why you signed the contract, to enter here and be deceived. So then he has to deceive you. He's telling you, you have to love me above all things. The first biblical deceit. You have to love me above all things. Love is long suffering. The love for God is suffering, and it's kind. The love for God envieth nothing. The love for God vaunteth not itself, and the love for God is not puffed up. The love for God does nothing that is unseemly. Careful, and it seeketh not her own. No, they look whatever God wants. The love for God is not provoked. So if you're provoked, you're a sinner. The love for God does not hold a grudge, no matter what God does. He kills your whole family, makes you suffer, and ends up killing you, but you don't hold a grudge. Love for God doesn't hold a grudge. The love for God rejoiceth not in iniquity, bearing in mind that justice is God. And the love for God rejoiceth in the truth. What truth? The truth that he gives you, the religious one, depending what church you're from. The love for God beareth all things. So then shut the fuck up and continue to worship. The love for God believeth all things. So then don't think what the Bible tells you, or what your rabbi tells you, or what your pastor tells you is the truth. Because the love for God believeth all things. You have to believe everything out of love for God. You have to suffer everything out of love for God. Just like that, that is the Christian mind. Now you're understanding. I suffer all things for Jesus. I believe all things for Jesus. I mean, you haven't seen a fucking cross. You didn't see he was the Son of God, but you ate up the whole story. You have to believe it. Believe what? By faith. You You believe that God is, that Jesus, the Son of God, who came to die for you? Yes, I believe it. I believe it. Oh, you believe it? Okay, so then you have love for God. You think you're unjust? Yes, I do believe it. You think you're evil? Yes, I do. You think that you need a Savior? Yes, I believe it. Here's your Savior. Kneel down. And I kneel down before Him. And this is the cross. Ask to be forgiven. Ask to be forgiven. You believe in Jesus? Yes, I do. Love for God believes all things. And this is the dog shit that Paul wrote. This defines love. It has nothing to do with love. Love is an insufficiency that parts from ourselves. So then this definition of love is that the definition of Christianity and also of Judaism and of all fucking religion that fall in love with their God and they do everything for their God. They believe all things, no matter. It says, God says, kill your son. And I believe it because God asked me to. I believe it. You have to cut your foreskin. I believe it. And I cut off to my whole family members. That's the way it is. That's the love for God. Women cannot enter into churches. Women won't enter into the church. Women cannot be priestesses. They're not priestesses. They're impure. Women, they're impure for 14 days. Then the women are impure for 14 days. Why? Because I believe all things. Because love for God believes all things. And that, you believed it your entire life. In your religion, you believed in Ellen G. White. You believed in Paul. You believed in Peter. You believed in every fucking lie that the religion gave you. You believed that you lived in a globe. You believed in the vacuum cleaners and everything. So then you experienced the Christian love. Love believes all things. True love doesn't believe it. The stupid idiots believe in all things, and the wise man tells you to. The fools believe all things. And then Paul later in the Christian love, he says, love for God, which is not written that way, that's the way it is, believes all things. The love for God awaiteth all things. That's why they die waiting for God to give a miracle, do a miracle in their life. They die pleading to be saved. And God's not going to save anyone. No one. The Messiah, the human Messiah, will save the world. But they gave their life for God because they believed it all. Because they hoped for all things, because they suffered all things. That's why Paul says, if I were to give my body to be burned, fuck you! Am I going to give my body to be burned? For what reason? For God? Like Abraham was going to do? To kill his son like for God? Like these imbeciles, because of preaching Jesus, they were all killed for God? That is what Christianity is. It is based in sacrifice, in pain. They suffer all things, the love for God. They believe all things. Any stupid shit they tell you. They hope for all things because they expect like idiots. Nothing will work. They bear all things no matter. The dog shit that God sends you, you bear it. Learn. Because this is the Christian doctrine in its maximum exponent, and also for every religion. Love, it never ends. No, the love for God, they teach you, never ends, because if you love God, you can love Him forever. That's why love does fail. It says, but the prophecy shall fail. It was always talking about God. The love for God never fails. The prophecies of God, those will end, because they'll be fulfilled. And the tongue shall cease, and the signs, according to them, right? According to Paul. So then, now, let me read that text differently. Like, only I can teach you. Instead of being God, this whole definition, I'll read it. Love unto yourself. If I were to speak human tongues and angelical ones and have no love for myself, I become a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. Perfect if I don't learn in this life to love myself, to value myself, to feel that I'm not a minion of God, that I'm a God living an experience here, and that out of that experience I will deny it and become something else, then it was no good, all the tongues that I speak. And if I had prophecy, or I understood all prophecies, and I understood all the mysteries, and all the knowledge, and though I have all faith, so that I could remove mountains, and have no love for myself, I am nothing. And that is true. Because more important than all that, in fact, all that is born out of the love for me. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, and have no love for myself, and have no love for me, it profited me nothing. Exactly. Absolutely. Love suffereth long. Yeah, the love for me is suffering. It could make me suffering. But I will grow in that love. The love for me is kind, of course, and it has to be kind. The love for me envieth not, of course not. If I love myself, there is no love. There is envy. When I envy, I want what the other has, and I want what the other has, if it's his wife, the objects, her husband, or whatever, makes them happy. I want that happiness for myself, and everything is born out of me not loving myself. If I loved myself, I wouldn't envy anything. Then, now, with this torrent of light that I send you, based on this that is written, you can understand it a lot better. Love for yourself has no envy. Love bestows nothing, it's not puffed up. The love for yourself does not vaunt itself. The love for yourself doesn't do anything unseemly. It doesn't seek its own. It is not provoked. And it holds no grudge. That is very important. The love for yourself holds no grudge. It is very important if you hold a grudge because you don't love yourself. Because the grudge, you have it, not the other. You can have a grudge against your neighbor. It doesn't affect him. You can have a grudge at, I don't know, your sister, brother, your husband, wife. You have lots of grudge. And the other could care less. They can see it. Maybe they don't care. The one that bears that weight is you. If you really love yourself, you'll take that grudge out. You take it out because the only one that it affects is you. Love holds no grudge. The love for yourself holds no grudge. The love for yourself does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoiceth in truth. The love for yourself beareth all things. Yes, because if you love yourself, you can suffer many things to gain a result or whatever you want. You can suffer it. The love for yourself believeth all things. We could apply it because if you don't love yourself, then who are you going to love? You got to believe in yourself first. The true love for yourself believes that you can do all things. In the moment that you say, I don't believe this, I don't think that I can do this, then you're no longer believing. The love for yourself has to start to believe in yourself. What happened to Neo? He believed that he was the Messiah. He believed in himself. So the love for oneself believes all things, and it's something that we should practice. It's not the love for the partner, not the love for God. It is the love for yourself. We have to believe that we're capable of doing all things. The thing is that we don't believe capable. We don't believe. We don't believe, and we have to believe in ourselves. We have to learn that, in order to become tremendous gods. The love for yourself hopeth all things. Of course, I hope all good things. I desire them and I hope for them. If I desire what's evil, then what's evil will come. Hopeth all things. That is the true love for oneself. True love for oneself endureth all things. Yes, there are things that you'll have to endure. Many things that you'll have to endure. For example, to live on this earth. For example, this experience. We have to learn to endure it because we have love for ourselves. So as to be able to love the other, we have to learn to love ourselves and afterwards. When you achieve that love for yourself, then you'll be able to love the other and wish everything you wish for yourself to the other. There's no other way. Love your neighbor as thyself. I want to be like Jesus. I want to play soccer like Messi or Maradona better. I have to look at Maradona. Then, if you have to love your neighbor as thyself, first look at yourself, how much you love yourself. Because if you don't love yourself, then you don't have love to give to anyone. You don't have it. You think you have it, but you don't. Because the love is something else. It is born with us, in us, and from then on out it comes out forward. If it is not born with you for you, and it's augmented, you cannot love anyone. The love for ourselves never faileth. Spectacular, spectacular. It never stops, and death does not exist for us. Even though it may exist, it's like you're sleeping, and then because we're eternal, it'll never stop being. The love that you develop for yourself will never fail. But the prophecies will end, and the tongues will fail, which won't happen, and the knowledge will end, which will never happen. It's a form of saying, but the love for you never vanishes away, because in part we prophesy and in part we know. But there's no need to read the rest of the text, but the definition of love that Paul gives is not the love as a definition, unless you understand that it is the love towards yourself. It is not applied to others, it is not applied to God, even less to God. But the Christians apply this to love in general and unto God. Ill applied, because the Bible is to deceive you if you don't know how to read it. So then, all this surges out of me trying to make you understand that the text, that above all things keep your heart, because out of it the life poureth. Love is part of what the heart produces, and it is necessary. How do you keep your heart? By learning to love yourself. The more you love yourself, the more will you be able to recuperate your emotions that they made you ill. No person is healed of any things that they're going through in their life if they don't learn to love themselves. You have to learn to love yourself. To love yourself. To love yourself heals you. To heal yourself makes you do things that you would not have done if you didn't love yourself. For example, situations in which, because you believed that to love the other was to bear all the stupid shit they did, it was to believe everything they did, and it was to suffer all things. You stayed with that person, and you became ill, and maybe you even lost your life. I'm not talking to you, but in other situations, if you had loved yourself, you would have separated yourself from that person. You would have separated yourself from that person, but as it turns out, they taught you that to love is to support the stupid shit that the other does, or else you don't love me. So they taught us that we have to bear, because there is love unto the other, that we have to believe all things they tell us, and blindly so. And we have to forgive all things, in the sense of continuing to suffer, and that isn't so. In the moment that you love yourself, you're going to say, I should have separated myself from my parents, for example. I should have separated myself from my sister, for example. I should have separated myself from my husband, for example. I should have separated myself from this family that I live here. I should have separated myself from the company that I work on. Separate myself from where I was living in other cities. All that is born based on how much we love ourselves. Because the more we love ourselves, the more we'll respect ourselves. And the more we respect ourselves, we'll look for the things that are convenient to us. That are convenient to us to grow. And if there is something bad in this life that is happening to you, you have to check where you stopped loving. Because in the moment that you had fear for something, it is because you don't have love for yourself. In the moment in which you had fear or you had the loss of territory, it is because you didn't love yourself. Because if you were to love yourself, you would not have cared about losing the territory and you were to give it away. You live the territories more than the love for you. The greater the love for you is, the less problems of territory will you have. If your love is in the other, if you put all of your confidence and territory in another person, when that person is lost or leaves or betrays you, you're destroyed. It is destroyed. Because you placed all of your heart in another being. That maybe it would turn out okay. The most likely is that it'll turn out give or take. Give or take. But it's not the ideal. What's ideal is that you place all of your love in yourself to be able to give unto the other. But your faith and your love has to be based in yourself. Because if you lose this, you cannot be destroyed. My love never ends. Which one? The love towards myself. It never stops being. That's how God thinks. That's how God thinks. What happens if everybody abandons me and you leave and nobody loves me? The most important is the love that I have towards me, my concept towards me. It is the most important thing. It is not the concept that you have towards me. It is not the love that you have towards me. Because if I build myself with the love that you give me, the moment that you leave, I am destroyed and there's no way to recuperate it. If I base myself in the love that I found in myself, my heart is secure because even if you love me, you'll make me very happy. If you love me, and you'll make me be absolutely, it'll hurt me not at all if you leave because you're not. You, the base of my love and my happiness. But when I place, there are people that I've known, women that have deposited all of their life and they're secure in their man, and when the man leaves them for someone younger, they are destroyed. That person is no longer good. They are embittered for life. Why? Because they did a wrong bet. She should have bet herself, and when she bets on herself, then she gives love to her man. All the love, not in a greater quantity, to love thy neighbor as thyself, not in a greater quantity, but equal in any case, but it's always born out of your love. When you love you, you are more solid and with less risk to be killed. What does the text say? Above all things kept, keep your heart. And today I taught you to keep it, to not love someone a lot more than what you love yourself. To not love God, love yourself. And aside from your love for you, can you love a person crazily? But first, you have to be crazily in love for yourself. Almost all of the illnesses are born because the people are not in love with themselves. They love someone else or something else or certain abilities. When they lose them, they lose their health because they're not in love of one self. You have to understand that in its great depth because your life is there. In the Torah Samat, Proverbs 4:23, it says, keep your heart with all vigilance, because out of it does life pour. And now we pass on to number 24. I never want you to forget what you experienced today in 1 Corinthians 13. Read, as if that love was for God, because that's the intention of Paul. And read as if that love was for you. It's spectacular if you read it, if that love is for you. It's spectacular. Read it later. Meditate upon it. Keep it because it's a treasure. 24. Put away from thee a froward mouth and perverse lips put far from thee. What is the perverse lips? It is to lie. It is to lie, not to tell the truth. That is the perverse lips. In the textual version, it says, put aside from thee the perverse mouth and the falsehood of lips. That's what it is, to be false, to lie. In the New Spanish Bible, it says, put away from thee that trapping tongue, which is, it is to lie to gain an advantage, to lie to sell you something, it is to lie to deceive you. It is to lie to draw some benefit. It is to lie to make you feel bad. Because when a person doesn't love themselves, they also don't want for the others to be happy. So then they'll lie to you. Instead of praising you, for example, of something which I see so much in human beings. That a friend buys something spectacular, and then the friends come along, and they say, "Oh, yeah, it's nice, it's nice." When they should say, "How spectacular! Congratulations, it's spectacular what you bought yourself." No, no, no. They keep their emotion because they feel envy. They feel something that makes them sick, and they feel ill, and they say, yeah, give or take. It's nice, it's nice, it's nice. That is perverse. Why perverse? Because they feel ill, because their friends or their family members or their acquaintances or whomever bought something that they wish they had. So then it forms envy, anger. We cannot be that way. We shouldn't be that way, and we won't be that way when you dominate this, when you love yourself. If you love yourself entirely, you'll love others as yourself, as if you had received that which your friend bought themselves or your neighbor or whatever. In the New Spanish Bible, it says, put away from thee the trapping tongue and put away from thee the false lips. It is so important that we learn to not lie. To not lie. To not deceive. No one will be able to enter into the church of Messiah if they're a deceiver. The deceivers are now all in government. They're all in office, in science. They're all religious. So then, the new Messiah, no, the only Messiah, the new God, is precisely contrary to all these bunch of liars and deceivers. Biblical prophets were deceivers. The holy evangelists were deceivers. God is a deceiver because he's in this. It's his job to deceive us, of course. Those who will be the Messiah, if there's something that they should not be, is deceivers. I'll tell it to you right now. If there's something in your mouth that is deceit, you will not belong to the group of the Messiah. There cannot be deceit in your mouth under any aspect. It is the most detestable in a person. Deceit. Deceit cannot be a part of the Messiah. Put away from thee the perverse lips and the froward mouth. Let thine eyes look right on. This is incorrectly written. That's just, let your eyes should look right on. Do not deviate towards the left or towards the right. That is what the text says in Hebrew. It's not let your eyes look upon the righteous, as it says in Spanish, but it says look right on, forward. And let thine eyelids look straight before thee, of course. Do not deviate your eyesight from your objective. If your objective is what we believe, it is not a moment of deviating the eyesight to other objectives. For example, in the Spanish DHH, it says always look forward. That is what the text says. That is what the text says in the Hebrew language. I don't know why they translated it this way. It has nothing to do with the fact to look at the righteous than to look in straightforward. Two different things. And that is how the translator decided. It says in the Spanish DHH, it says always look forward. Always look forward. In front of you. Exactly. Forward and in front of you. Examine the path of your feet. And all your paths be right. Exactly. When you look forward, you look at your paths. The obstacles, you avoid them. In the New Spanish Bible, it says, number 26, watch where you set your feet, and let all thy ways be firm. And then we get to the last text. Wow. Wow, how long have I been speaking? I'm like, it should have been an hour. We get to the last text, number 27, and the chapter 4 ends. Turn not to the right hand, nor to the left. Remove thy foot from evil. Exactly. Remove thy foot from evil. Remove thy foot from speaking lies. Remove thy foot from any lie inherited from your parents. If you're here and you're listening, it is because of something. This is not a religion. Yeah, I did not invoke you to come and worship and to say, oh, we're a group that worship. No, we don't worship Yahweh here. We worship ourselves. It sounds weird. It could sound very weird to the worshipers of God. We are not worshipers of God. We are worshipers of ourselves. Why? Because we're preparing ourselves to be kings of the world. Psalms 78, 1 through 2. All my people, hear my teachings. Open your ears unto what I'm saying. For I shall speak unto thee by means of a parable. I shall teach thee hidden lessons of our past. We are those crazies that say, yes, we worship ourselves. Do you know it, my friends? We are crazy, for we think that there is an eternal justice that is called to rule the world, and that justice is us. That is why we're not worshipers of God. We're worshipers of ourselves. We worship ourselves, practicing and comprehending the truths of this creation. A flower is born. Every day the sun comes out. Every now and then you hear that voice as of a delicious bread, delicious to sing. In the balconies of the mind with the cicadas, but in turn a transformer exists that consumes the best of you, throws you back, demands more and more. And there comes a point in which you no longer want. Suck at the liberty's breast, the one that I taught you. You will always carry her within the heart. They may corrupt you, you may forget, but she is always there. Yesterday I had a dream with the hungries, the crazies, those who left, those who are in prison. Today I awoke singing this song, which has been written time ago, and it is necessary to sing it one more time. Semper Fi. The destiny is written. It has always been written. The end is inevitable. God is Argentinian. Let's go the eternal truth. Let the laurels be eternal that we knew how to achieve, crowned with glory. Let us live, or we swear, because we're eternal, with glory, to die. Hallelujah to every one of you. Forget not to comment the video, to give us a like, and also of all of you which are associates of this eternal truth to cooperate with this ministry. Hallelujah to every one of you. We shall meet again next Shabbat. We are out of here to enjoy Brian's birthday with good fettuccine Alfredo. Hallelujah to every one of you.